Drew, thanks for fucking coming, man.
Absolutely. I'm fucking glad to be here. It's
First podcast,
honor.
huh?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of pressure because there's at least 25 people that are subscribed.
Too many people.
Look out, YouTube.
Oh gosh.
So your art is really fascinating. It takes parts of Gothic culture, it takes parts of digital realm, the fashion world, surrealism, some type of, I guess you'd call it neo-pornography, because it's not really pornography.
Yeah, debatable,
But it's offensive, to put it mildly.
Yeah, for sure.
How did it all get started with Drew's, though? It started with fashion, is that correct?
Yeah. So I started with a bunch of ideas that I had for like quite a few years, and then I finally started getting around to making stuff. I made like a few headpieces to start off with, and I had like a full costume in mind. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been about 2 years since I made the first thing. I haven't even been taking my own photos for about less than a year now. So
I noticed that. I think initially there was some photo shoot where you had designed, I think it was like the horn with the veil headpiece. It may not have been the first one that you made, but it was like
gold and orange. Yeah. Okay, so that one, that was the first one that I started with. I called that one the Oracle, and it was like, I don't know, I kind of took it in like a future direction, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like she can see the future, but she's blind and stuff. I don't know, but that was definitely one of my favorites for sure. And then I made not the second one, but the third one. I called that one the Empress of Death photo shoot, where she had like the long blonde wig and like all the pasties and stuff on her chest. Those are probably, I put the most work into those two for sure. And like,
so like how long, granted not as far as like inspiration for the idea, but when you actually went into production with like taking this intangible idea and creating like art and fashion out of it, how long did it take you initially? Like once you started working on the headdress and whatnot?
Like to put a full costume together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it really depends on the costume and how like vivid of an idea that I have for it. And sometimes it could be as simple as like I can see like a piece of fabric and I like just explodes with imagination and stuff, I guess I'm just a very visual thinker, so when it comes to like the time span of the like initial thought to the final like costume design and everything,
mm-hmm.
It could range honestly anywhere from about a week to like many months. And like the first ones that I made where it was like pretty elaborate, like the Oracle one, the Empress of Death, the Fine China one where it was like
the blue and the white, yeah, that was gorgeous.
I was very proud of that one.
You should be, dude. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, when because I started with the shoes on that, because I had all this tissue paper that I got from high school, and I was like, let me just see if I can make a design out of this. And then I put it on shoes, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna make a full costume out of it because I like that design anyways. And I had all those vases to look at every day that kind of just inspired the whole thing.
There's something aesthetically pleasing about like that China pattern anyway.
Yeah.
And I think definitely the contrast of the colors of that royal blue and that pearl really offsets it. I'm not sure psychologically what that does, but I saw it was some documentary about the impressionists and post-impressionist painters, and they talked about how they discovered, because they were using such thick paint and broad brushstrokes as a sort of a proverbial middle finger to the art world, that they found that gold, or rather I guess it would be a golden rod, and black, like Mars black, created a higher contrast from afar than black did with any of the other primary or secondary colors. And so it became almost like because you weren't supposed to use like black right out of the tube, right. Like the classical way was like, oh no, you mix all these umber shades and some maroon. But no, they were just, well, fuck you, squirt it and dab it.
I don't know. I think my favorite color of all time is black. And honestly, I found...
How emo of you.
Hey, this is who I am now. But
most people say no judgment, but no, that's not true. I'll judge everybody. I'll just, won't be a dick about it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with emo.
Yeah.
Fine.
I mean, I don't know, but using a black background, I like honestly using it mostly for like nudes and stuff because it's easier to edit the body if it's like just a straight black background. And that's just my personal experience. You know, I don't really use Photoshop to edit photos or anything, so I'm just using like free applications that I got off of iTunes or the App Store rather. So
you ever never used Photoshop?
I have used Photoshop and I know how to use Photoshop, but honestly, it's just easier to use. I'm good on that. It's easier to use. I use PixArt a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was just like one of the first free apps that I found when I typed in like photo editing, and I don't know. I feel like it's turning out pretty well. Like I'm not losing a whole lot of quality from the images, like because I use my iPad and then I'll post off of the iPad on Instagram, and then I'll look on my phone like to see if it looks good at least. Because there have been a few times like the Valentine's shoot I did, like the all red body paint, and they had the matching masks and everything.
Yeah.
Something about those images, every time I tried to post it, like I just lost a lot of quality from the image. So I feel like it may have just been like the red on red on red, you know, just everything is red. It was hard to like I don't know, but
well, the contrast, you know, can be difficult with that. But it's also with you know, different screens.
squeeze.
A squeen is a very flamboyant person, a queen, as they're sometimes called, who just won't shut the fuck up and just keeps screaming. So it's a squeen, but that's neither here nor there.
Same squeams.
Yes. Yeah, there might not be any squeens on that screen, son. There's not, Dad. No squeens here. No. So with audio, when I'm checking my mixes, I'll have to use different speakers. So like, you know, I primarily do most of the mixing on really crummy speakers, and the reason being is because that's where I'm going to find like the most loss of sound.
Right.
So versus like mixing on like the best speakers I have, well, I mean that's good to check for me, but I'd rather do the dirty work on like sort of a bare essentials level. So even like you talking about the app Pixar or Pixel, whatever it was, like the software that I use, like it's not cutting edge. Like what's the best way I can put it? I've found that when it comes to being an artist, the audience, for the most part, nobody gives a shit about what struggle you went through or what how you made the art. They just care about like the art you made, and they're like so stoked that you're able to share it.
I think it really makes a true artist not the means how you did it, but the final product. And you're right. Nobody really cares about like the story behind it or whatever. But at the same time, I don't put a story behind everything I do. I just do whatever I feel inspired to do and what I want to do. Like, and I know that sometimes it may be a little offensive or it may be a little graphic, but that's what it felt like. That's what I wanted, you know. And it's not necessarily all about me, but I feel I would still do all the pictures and everything if I had somebody, you know, willing to do it. It doesn't matter if I have all the likes or all the follows or like a huge following or anything. Like, this is what I enjoy doing. So,
well, I enjoy it. Like I said, I think with whenever you're an artist and you are creating, there's a different way that you look at your art, right? Which I mean, granted, yeah, you made it, but that's not entirely what I mean. So your mind, whenever you view one of like your images and like you post it and you're like this is done to my standards, enjoy, right? And you get that catharsis and that delayed gratification from an artist. You know, it's like a mini orgasm in the mind where it's just like, you know, like, and it's incomparable to anything else I've experienced with that. When you know that like something you made, an intangible idea, and you brought it into existence, like nobody else made the art you made except for you. So, however, whenever you look at it and it's completed, you still remember your mind where it was whenever it was a shit idea.
Oh yeah, you know? Absolutely.
And like when you start just like questioning everything, And I'll find myself with that struggle because I'm my favorite and least favorite person, my biggest and worst critic, all of those paradoxes. But whenever I just look at, like you said, you've only even just been doing your photography for what, about a year?
Yeah, less than a year.
I mean, dude, just look at like the past year, and that time would have gone by whether you did something or you did nothing, and you chose to do something.
Yeah.
And what's really cool with being an artist is you get to see your chronology as far as like where it's taken you.
I even did it today, actually. Like, I scrolled down my Instagram and I was just looking, like, comparing, then versus now, and you can definitely tell that I guess I've grown as an artist a little bit, and that's definitely a good thing. Like, I want to continue growing, and I want to continue, like, doing what I enjoy doing, and I don't know.
I like that on some of them, because you'll it's like almost like a cover song of a band, right? Like, so you'll remix like these classical works, like what was the Michelangelo, the Pieta? Was one. I think I saw a Goya that you had redone, Francisco Goya.
Mm-hmm.
That
I've done quite a few. So
I like that because but not all of them are like it's not like it's become a shtick for you or anything, right? It's just become part of your catalog,
right?
Like, I like that.
Yeah, I definitely like to switch it up, and recreating like classical paintings is definitely fun. Like, and I feel like that's where a lot of the I guess desire for nudity came from, because when you're recreating like classical things, they weren't wearing like Nike shirts or like a football team or like a shirt that I'm wearing right now.
Right.
So I think that's where a lot of it came from. And I've done like pretty much all kinds of photography already. I've done like the nudes. I've done pretty much like straight up porn. So, and those really aren't Instagram appropriate. So not many people are ever probably going to see those, but
they're there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And it's not
something else to add. As cheesy as it sounds, something else to add to your repertoire or your resume.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I've like worked with so many people already. It's nothing for me. Like I tell everyone, like, when we're doing a nude shoot, if anything makes you feel uncomfortable, all you have to do is tell me, and that's going to be it. Like, I'm not going to try to push it. I'm not going to do anything to make you feel creepy or like uncomfortable or anything like that. I don't know. But comparing costume and nude shoots to each other, I definitely enjoy doing the costume shoots a lot more, because I don't know, it gives me something to focus on. Because when we're doing like a nude shoot, I try not to like look, because I don't want to get caught like looking directly at their private parts.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're skinny dipping with a group of people, you don't want to be like, golly, George's dick is fucking huge. Man. Look at Josie's tits too, just bouncing in the wind.
Jeez,
man. And then before you know it, everybody's looking at you, staring at George and Josie naked.
Drooling a little bit or something.
Colter.
Come back.
What?
But yeah, I definitely do enjoy costumes a lot more. Especially if I made the costume.
I was about to say, is that because like you've got almost double the investment into the artwork?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, it feels great. It feels great seeing like something that I've worked so hard on come to life, and it all just like falls in place. And depending on like the costume and everything, I've had a few where we would go through like quite a few fittings to make sure that everything was going to work and everything was going to like look good. For example, like the Empress of Death one, we started with like the dress and like the tights and everything, and then I had her come back and we tried like the wig and how I was going to like secure the headpiece to her head and everything. But that headpiece broke 3 separate times before that shoot. And then the very end, before we went to like the concrete wall at VSU, one of the shoes broke. So we had to like manage with like one broken shoe, and then as we were at the concrete wall, the other fucking shoe broke. So it was just
well,
like,
at least they're symmetrical now.
Yeah, true. But man, I was so upset about that because I worked hard on those shoes and I was looking forward to selling them, and yeah. But I'll bring up like selling stuff every now and then, but I never have it in me to sell anything. It's like I don't
still emotionally attached to
I guess it's like emotional attachment, but it's also kind of just like I may use that in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I'll collect so much stuff because I'll see it and I'll have an idea for it. And I know, because I've watched enough episodes of Hoarders. They're free on YouTube. You can watch them just...
True.
Yes. That's how it starts. That's how it starts. They just collect a bunch of shit they're going to use for, and then they never use it, so...
Place I was staying at briefly where it was a nice house, and like the dudes were like really nice. They were friends of a family member. But there was like one room in the house, man, and it was like a big open what do you call it, den or living room, whatever. It went the whole width of like the house. Mm-hmm. So like a couple what'd you call it, couple score feet of a room, and these guys had just put stuff in. It was just piled like from floor to ceiling all the way across. And just this narrow little path, you couldn't even get to the door anymore. Yeah. And
there was this. Okay, I can't find the full episode on YouTube, but there was this like little clip, like 3-4 minute clip of this lady, and I feel like I know why they didn't make it a full episode that you could watch on YouTube. But anyways, that's not the point. This lady would like shit in a bucket. And then when the bucket got too full, she would take a smaller bucket and then scoop the poop out. And then, like, she would take all, like, that, like, the pan of shit and piss out to her front yard and then fling it in the fucking yard. No, okay, so...
Did she not have a toilet? Or was it just lost in the labyrinth of
She does have a toilet, but her house apparently had, like, septic issues. So, okay, and also her mom would put her poop in buckets, or, like Hawaiian punch bottles, you know, like the big ones. Yeah. Fill it with fucking poop, and then they would leave it in the house. And this lady would fucking like deal with all her fucking like poop buckets and stuff and do all that shit flinging in her front yard, and then she would go and microwave something in the microwave and then fucking like eat it with her bare hands. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was crazy. You should watch the poop lady
I can't.
Video. It's
Drew,
crazy.
I can't. I will want to kill myself after seeing that shit,
yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like,
it's bad.
You ever like, it'll happen with me, man. Like I'll imagine surviving to like an old age, right? Mm-hmm. So like whenever it's probably like about 5 years ago or so, like we were talking earlier before we started, like that like I just sucked. I wasn't living up to like my like full potential, right? And then before I knew it, I was like in my 30s, and it's like, oh shit. And then my death wish fetish that I had all through my 20s is like, it didn't happen.
Shit.
It's like,
now you gotta live with it.
Yeah, so then it's like, all right, so what do I need to do? It's like, well, shit, man. If I were me, and I am, then I would probably try to start improving myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Changing, things about myself. But point being, like, I'll and it's happened before. I like primarily if I on like mushroom trips where I'll like sort of like gaze into the future, where I'll see myself in like these wretched situations where people like this lady like putting shit in Hawaiian punch bottles and storing it, and like imagining like having to like live with that, like that's your family, and like nobody like doing anything to change like that person. And
a lot of people that are hoarders, they have like a mental component that's going along with the hoarding. So no doubt. I feel bad for them, but some of the people just let it go like too far, and it's really sad. That's my point. It's a sad situation.
I 100% agree. That's my point is that like, and I don't want to use a broad brush and say that all of them are like this, because clearly there's always an exception to almost any rule, right? But what it seems like to me is a lot of these folks, their family members are enabling them
to an extent
to continue that.
Especially when you're saying like enabling and family members and such. My 600-pound life, pretty much the person that is suffering from the morbid obesity has an enabler. Yeah. And it's either like their mom or their dad, brother, whatever, or like boyfriend, wife, whatever, like whoever the fuck it is enabling them.
Yeah, there was one where it was a guy who literally had a fat fetish, and he wanted to keep pumping her up and pumping her up. And he's like washing her down with a hose so she can like wipe her ass crack. That's I feel like, and it's not body shaming by any means. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like, Cause like I'm a fat dude. It's cool. I'm fucking gorgeous. I'm that has nothing to do with my confidence in myself or anything. But what it does have to do is like, yo, you need to take care of yourself, man. Right. And like I see people like that, and like I saw like how big I was like a year ago, let alone like 4 years ago, and like that, and not to put blame on anybody else that somebody should have told me. No, fuck that. It's my responsibility. But these folks that are like living with them like day to day, every day, and like not doing anything to help them out, like right. to me, like that's almost torturous for those people.
Yeah.
In particular, the 600-pound life examples, where it's like a spouse or a family member mm-hmm. that's more or less using them for their wishes, whatever they may be.
Yeah. It's crazy. I just know that if I ever get to that point where I'm like 500, 600 pounds and I got to go out in the backyard and wash myself in a kiddie pool or something, something's going to change. We still know each other, say like 30 years from now, and I come across you in a fucking kiddie pool weighing 600 pounds, asking me to help you. I'd be like, Colter!
I'd be like, Drew,
stop being so damn much!
You and I need to have a talk. And we're gonna go through some tough realities together. Speaking of body shaming and all that, so I saw you became an intolerant piece of shit this past week. As somebody else who is an intolerant piece of shit artist, let me just say, welcome to the club, and fuck them.
Feels great.
Fuck them.
Feels great.
I have not noticed, I'm not speaking for you, putting words in your mouth. This is just me, my opinion, controversial as I may be. I don't give a shit. I haven't seen one goddamn thing in your art that says that you're subjecting anybody to anything they don't want to do, nor are you being disrespectful, intolerant, or anything. Art is about the aesthetics of your mind. It's your ego and your narcissism dealing with it and manifesting reality to create something beautiful rather than take it out on other people. Right. And for somebody to go on social media, of all things, and try, I don't know who this person is, so I don't have a problem with them. It's just the logic that I saw where it's almost some SJW bullshit where it's trying to drag like identity politics into fucking art. Get fucked, dude. Right. Your art kicks ass, man.
I'll just like I said earlier, I'll just glaze over the whole story, I guess. So, I had known this girl, I was friends with her, whatever. I'm not going to say any names or nothing. But
no, she doesn't deserve to be recognized for what she is. Fuck that. It's like school shooters. Why are you advertising their fucking name?
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Well, I don't know if this is on the same level as a school shooter.
Well, that might have been me being a little too hyperbolic and stepping over the line.
Yeah, no, I
definitely a big difference.
But she was saying that I told her that I thought she was too ugly or too fat to model for me, which I would never say to anyone because, for one, the whole thing about me wanting to take pictures of people, which is, the primary subject that I work with pretty much all the time.
I haven't seen much nature photography.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I don't like to offend someone or come across as like just so full of myself or anything like that. But yeah, I would never tell anyone that they're too ugly or too fat to model for me. In fact, I've contacted quite a few like plus size women asking them to model for me and stuff. And it always seems that either one, they don't like the idea of it, like they don't want to model, or they don't like what my pictures look like or something like that, or they're not comfortable with themselves. So it's usually not me being a fucking dick about it, it's the other person, and it's completely fine. I'm not expecting them to want to model for me, you know what I'm saying?
Oh no, your artwork should polarize people, as should the artist, right?
And see,
so if you make enemies out of what you make, man, in my opinion, that just means that your art is successful. I
can see that. I guess. I don't know. I don't like really offending people, but I know that people do get offended sometimes.
Right.
Okay, but the whole story is, so I never would have said that to anyone So when I saw that tweet, it was kind of just like, I know this happened in fucking April, and it's now, and I'm just now seeing it, but it's something that I never said. So if you are able to like tweet something about me, unnamed or not, like, am I not able to tweet the truth about it? Like, I never would have said that. So I don't know. I'm not proud that I put that thing on Instagram and everything, but at the same time, I'm not ashamed to speak up for myself. Like,
sometimes that's a good way to put it. Sometimes you have to eat shit before you taste sugar, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes there's conversations and truths that you kind of have to go through in order to progress or address something that you don't necessarily want to, right? Mm-hmm. And my parents would have told me that's part of being what an adult is. But to your credit, this was a couple months ago, and I was perusing. Is it Lounge 411, where they'll put mugshots on Facebook, mm-hmm. and because hey, nobody's reading the newspaper anymore, and that's what they used to do as a deterrent for crime. Right. Was that they would publish a name in the newspaper. Well, Facebook works a lot more effectively than a newspaper. So there was one gentleman who had been arrested, and he had what I guess you would say is an anomaly with part of his face, in particular his eye, where his eye was cockeyed, right?
Oh, and was it? Are you talking about the one that I commented on?
Yeah. And okay, I saw a little icon of you, and whatever his name was, I can't remember.
Yeah,
I wouldn't disclose it anyway, but it was like John Doe, like. Hit me up for a free photo shoot. I want to talk to you about making art.
I remember that.
So and like I said, that was like 2 months ago or so. Yeah, and then this week I saw that. I was like, oh, honey, that's not true at all.
Yeah, that's not true at all. And see, the people that I continuously work with, the ones that show up pretty often, like I'm not going to say that I use them as like a safe getaway as a model, but I know that they're always going to be readily available.
Your models are beautiful. You know what I mean? Like all of them, like all the dudes, all the girls, like they're all beautiful.
They're all beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think you that aside, I don't think you need to justify what you find aesthetically pleasing to somebody who's envious of you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And see, I think the thing about being, I guess a good photographer is you have to have, I guess, a sense of taste. And I'm not saying that I think people are like ugly and you can never model for me, because depending on the person, you have to have that quality. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's different for everybody. Everybody has different taste in what they like. But what I like to post and what I like to, take photos of, that's personally just what I like taking photos of. And it's not, limited to just them that I've already worked with. It just happens that that's what was in my cards for me. Those are those are the people that happen to be like, hey, I'll do it.
Well, the models themselves, I would argue, they become a medium, right? Mm-hmm. The same way that exactly. your brushes and your paints would be for a painter.
Right.
You can't actualize the idea without them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and see, I'm really not a good drawer at all. Like, I cannot, like, if I go to draw something, it's going to be like a very crude sketch. So I'm better at stuff with my hands. Like, I was really good with clay and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like all the little stuff that I do, like all the headpieces and this, like the wearable stuff, I'm just using my hands and making stuff.
See, I've always been, like the opposite with me, like things that I guess you put them in the two-dimensional scope,
mm-hmm.
because even like sound, like I can't reach in and like grab a waveform, you know what I mean? But I can use computers nowadays, so I don't have to have a reel-to-reel. But even like doing the corporate work, like doing working in Photoshop and stuff like that, and design aspects, like. Mm-hmm. That I get. If you're just sitting me at a pottery wheel and be like, make something, I'll make a mess.
Yeah, see, I'm not good at the pottery wheel, I tried. I'm just not good at it. But hand building stuff, I can blow the fucking water out of fucking hand building. Like, I made a lot of cool shit when I was in high school. I wish I still had access to like that type of clay and stuff because it was so easy to use. And I tried using like air dry clay that you can get from like the stores and stuff.
Not the same.
It's not the same. It doesn't stick together. It doesn't stick back to itself.
Mm-mm.
Like
now you need that whatever you would use to put in a kiln to like fire it. You know what I mean? Like that's what you need. My mom, she's a fucking beast. She used to have her own wheel, and like she would just like take a wad of that like clay and just center it, and just pull up like, oh, here's a vase. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that shit, man? But a buddy of mine had told me about something he had read, probably on Reddit or something, you know, some Reddit philosopher, but said that one reason why there seems to be more men that are into things like art, engineering, art as far as like creating constructs and things like this is because it's like bridge buildings, whatever you want to call it, is because we have this innate insecurity about ourselves as men that since we can produce life, yet we cannot create life, right? So because we can't create life, we therefore make up for our egos by manifesting things that aren't real and creating them instead.
Right.
So like the architects and the artists have a long history of being dominated by men, and I don't think it's entirely because they were all housewives or anything like that. But it's because there was this drive in us back when we were painting on walls, like with what's the animism or anism? It's like the religion of like everything has a spirit. It's like one of the oldest religions that there is. But anywho, would you when it comes to like how can I put it? With like your inspiration and whenever something triggers in your mind to like create something, do you have a vault of like a mental vault where it's like this idea, it's not ready yet, but I'm gonna hang on to it, and that occasionally though you'll pull from the vault and be like, that idea will actually work now?
Absolutely, of course, I've done that quite a few times actually. Like I'll take different aspects from like a look I may have done in the past or something and then use it again for something else. Like recently, that all white look that I did with a friend, like I bought the fucking wig for something else. Like I made the little pearl skirt for something else, and she just like, and everything happened to like fall together, and we were both pretty impressed. Like it all came together fucking, I think, fine. But sometimes I do feel a little bit like, comparing some looks to others, I feel like you can definitely tell which ones I've spent a lot more time on and which ones were a little bit rushed. But I feel I like always having something to post. I like having something to like constantly fill my time and like editing something new or like moving on to a different project. Like I've done probably 1 or 2 shoots every week for a couple months now, and I don't know. I love doing it. I love always having something.
There's have you ever heard of a book called Art and Fear?
No.
I think the full title of it is Art and Fear on the Perils and Rewards of Art Making. So it's anybody into creative pursuits. It's kind of like it's like a Bible minus all the damnation bullshit of it. But it talks about that there was an assignment for some like senior level art course where I think it was a ceramics class, and as an experiment, half the class was told that they have one piece to submit for the whole semester, and it has to be like top notch.
Yeah.
The one piece, and the other group was told that their goal was they have to submit as many pieces as possible, and like to not aim for quality.
Yeah, like fuck the quality, just quantity.
Quantity.
Yeah. Okay.
And at the end of the semester, interestingly enough, the ones that were in the quantity group had better quality than the students that were given one thing. And the authors expanded on it a little bit and talked about that aside from, obviously, practice makes progress, and, if you make more of something, you're going to, the more you make of art, the better your art's going to become.
Right.
But the group that was given the one pot, most of them had psychological stress through the whole semester because they would only focus on everything had to be perfect for this one ceramic piece that they had to make, and it outlined that an artist should always lean on the side of whatever keeps them busy rather than the one that keeps them obsessed.
Yeah.
Art and Fear, it's a good book, man. It's less than 100 pages. I'm not a very well-read man.
If it's more than 100 fucking pages, I'm not reading it.
Dude, good luck. Man, that thing better come in a fucking audiobook. I've noticed that about me, the older I've gotten, and that, it's okay that, people be like, oh, have you ever read this book? And they're fiction books. I'm like, no, man, they're lies. So, my brain is that's God, man, this is... It's fucking boring, dude. If I'm going to be reading, I want to learn something. The Art and Fear, dude, it's fucking awesome. It talks about there's 3 angles to judge art, right? No matter if you're the audience or the artist itself, but particularly if you're the audience, right? So 1, what was the artist trying to do? Okay? So... obviously, that explains the intent angle where people are I don't get it. And well, the artist was trying to do this. Oh, I get it. So,
oh, God.
But that's, they more or less say, that's sort of boom, that's the foundation. Foundational question. The next question is, did they accomplish it? Right? Mm-hmm. So then it sort of builds on where it's well, yeah, I get it, but Paul, that looked like a cow.
Yeah.
It's no, it's the symbol for a cow, and it's wrapped into Ganesh of, India. It's I don't just get it. But the third, kicker question is, was it worth it? And it's almost an impossible question, but I think it's good because that's what brings the subjectivity into art, right? Because art can never be objective because art mixes lies and the truth, right, together. It's subjective. So if you're prefacing evaluating art with the first 2 questions, it's saying it's given a Boolean question almost, right? So it's saying that, what were they trying to do? Well, they're trying to do this. Okay, did they in fact do that? Yeah. Okay, so it's still pretty orderly, and you're trying to explain art, which is it's chaotic, right? Mm-hmm. But then the third question when it comes in, was it worth it? Then that's whenever you get to sort of unpack the ideas, and so the whole second chapter, I believe there's only 3 chapters in the whole friggin' book, but the second chapter expands upon the idea of the art and the artist as being 2 separate things. And I think it goes back to sort of what we were touching base on earlier, where it's the art is not you, yet it would not be there without you.
Yeah, so I can definitely relate to that because the way, I guess, my type of art can be perceived, I don't necessarily live my life like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not always walking around naked or doing weird shit or anything like that, but I enjoy it. I like the creepy and insane looking shit. A lot of this stuff, especially in my the stories that I post and everything, I archive all the stories and put them in separate little categories when they fill up and stuff. But I don't know.
I think I think it'll be interesting. When it comes to like with me, how would you put chronological into a verb? Chronicle, I guess. Whenever you chronicle your art, like with me with audio, it's like a 5-year goal because it takes a long time. Mm-hmm. Like making a record takes a long freaking time.
Right.
So you have to be attentive to it. It's almost like you're growing something that isn't real. You know what I mean? But versus like some with like visual art and photography, again, like not to kiss your ass or anything, but if you just look in just like the past year of like your the arrays of just like light and color spectrums and costumes and makeup and like the different like models and like all of your art, like you're really building something that is unique. And like I think that having that type of work ethic where it's like I want to keep posting it is the right attitude to take into it.
I think also the way I see it is I can take a shitload of pictures now and then I'll only have so many to work with, because I can take fucking 600, 700 photos and then only have like 10 of them that are viable. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It happens though, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times I'll get shots where their eyes are closed because they're blinking, or like a half blink, or like doing weird shit, or like their hands are blurred or something. And when I take photos and when I have like an edit in mind or a visual, stimulation in mind that I want to do with it, I want the best photo of them to work with, because at the end of the day, not only do I want my models to look good, but I want to look good as well. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And I'm not full of myself. I don't have a crazy inflated ego. I'm not like I'm the best, nobody can touch me, nothing like that. But I want it to look good. I want it, when you look at it, I want it to look professional and not amateur. You know what I'm saying?
An artist should like their own art.
Oh yeah, I love my own art. I think my shit is cool as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie about that. Like,
as you should.
Yeah.
I think there's some sort of there's stigma, and it may just be today of like this way to sort of like demonstrate, oh, look how virtuous I am, but at the end of the day, nah, man, like you should like your own stuff. Like what's awesome about making good art is that not only does it please you, but it's really awesome when other people enjoy it with you.
Right.
Because then you feel not only validated for your existence, which is the feeling that creative pursuits give me, is like it gives me that purposeful feeling, to create. But like it gives me validation that I didn't waste my fucking time. Right. You know what I mean? But no, I think that anybody that is so self-deprecating that they hate their own art, I think that those people, those are the dangerous artists. I think those are the true narcissists, because they're not really channeling the thing that drives us as artists and as opposed to taking it out on other people, you channel like darkness. Right. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've written some fucking foul like songs and done some like creepy like ass art back in my day, but like my existence has been like pretty wholesome for the most part. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, shit, I love like listening to fucking music that like just has a touch of evil in it. Like,
oh yeah, me too. Like I think I love stuff that's a little bit like on the darker side, kind of just makes you feel some type of way about it.
Catholic school, 7 years as a kid. I did from 2nd grade through 8th grade, right? So I know it sounds like 6 years, but if you count 2 as index 1.
Hey bro, I'm not good with numbers.
Do you even math, bro? I'm no scientician.
Oh God.
I'm no mathematist here. But yeah, Catholic school that long, never my disdain even nowadays for like organized religion has really nothing to do with my Catholic school experience. I never had a pedophile priest around me or anything. The first priest we had was like an upstanding, like what you would call a Christian person, who's just like, no, you should love everybody, man. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like God loves everybody, so why don't you love everybody? It's like, well, this guy's awesome. But he worked for the Vatican, so I guess they have a rule about having wholesome people in a place for too long. They're like, we gotta bring some dickheads in. So the guy they brought in, he was it his Father Annie, I think his name was.
Oh.
Like, clean shaven, jet black hair that was like shoe polish at best.
Oh.
He kicked all the priests out of the rectory. He quit letting the homeless sleep inside the church at night. He redecorated everything and all this like avant-garde like stuff. He wanted the stained glass windows removed, but it was going to be too expensive, so he decided not to. Hated kids. Hated them.
Fuck them kids.
Hated them. He had a thing for my dad though. Like, my dad was like, it was years. I was like a teenager or something. He's like, yeah. He's like, I quit going to Bible study with your mom one night because the priest was there and he was kind of a little too close to me, and I can't prove it, but I felt like he grabbed my ass, and I didn't want to do nothing because we're there at the church, but I'm pretty sure it was him, and I just don't want to go back.
Yeah.
And it kind of made sense in hindsight, because you would see him with like all these dudes in the church, but like just being like really just like cold to kids, so there was no question of him ever being some reptilian pedophile or anything like that. He was just an asshole, didn't like kids. You should. It's an irony, isn't it? Like, if you're in organized religion, you shouldn't be in it if you hate kids, nor should you be in it if you're also
like a racist or misogynist or something. Yeah,
it's fucking wild, man. What do you so what's your thoughts on current state of affairs this week, man? I don't want to unpack the virus or anything necessarily, but shit, man, America, what the fuck's up, dude? What's going on with the
I don't even know what to say about that, to be honest.
Well,
it's so bad right now. I hate thinking about it because it just makes me feel like there's nothing that I can do. You know what I'm saying?
I think all we can do from afar is talk about it, right?
Right.
So, I mean, if we think about it like this, right? We're just two dudes having a conversation, but someone listening to this right now is just as lonely as we are, and they're actually listening to us talk.
Sure.
So, but I mean, levity aside, like these ideas, ideas can be transmitted, right? So, and I think we're both mature enough to be able to come to our own conclusions with certain things by unpacking it, right? So let me just start off by saying that what's his name, George Floyd, isn't it? It's of my strong opinion that this man was murdered.
Absolutely.
He wasn't accidentally killed.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, he was murdered.
I think it was actually even further than that. I think the idea of all the what would you call them? With all due respect, buzz topics, anything that stems from, say, like people knowing who Colin Kaepernick is just because of taking a knee,
right?
Like, and not really taking a step back and sort of delving deeper than that. And I think while there is a supremacist ideology that has permeated through American culture that survived the Civil War, and I think it is still here, I do not think that is everything that we're looking at. I think this was a chess move that was made by some force that is not American, but it has Americans involved with it, right? I think it's some sort of not sound cheesy, man, but deep state. Like it's some sort of like military operation that I think has foreign intelligence involved, and I think that we have members in our own government that are compromised. I think that using Trump as a way to how would you say, even talk about or describe what's going on is a misnomer itself, because that's all they want us to talk about is how the president's reacting. And I don't think it's about that. I did see where this quote-unquote cop, that's not a cop, it's a fucking pig that murdered George Floyd, that they're charging him now with manslaughter and murder in the third degree. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's been apprehended yet. This is what I just saw while I was out before you got here. I think that this is I think it's tied to eugenics. Eugenics and eugenicists, they believe in superiority by their genes, just based on the accident of birth, their ancestry, and they believe that society is best ran within this scope of ideas, right? Mm-hmm. So, and a lot of people don't want to address some of these truths, but two names that are heralded in modern political sciences are Charles Darwin and what's her name? Margaret Sanger. Charles Darwin, famous for the theory of evolution, right? And Margaret Sanger for Planned Parenthood. Now, let me start by saying that I think services that Planned Parenthood provide, there are competitors as well. So I'm not talking about the services, I'm talking about one company, right? And not the whole scope of the services they provide, this one company. With Margaret Sanger, they were eugenicists. They believed in eradicating non-white people off the face of the earth. They believe in this. It's a deep-rooted ideology, some would argue a religion. And it's a lot bigger than just rednecks saying the N-word on social media, right? Mm-hmm. This is some deep-rooted shit. I think it's tied with what you would call they're just radical. They want to say that they're progressives and progressives support this, but I think it's all a marketing campaign, Drew. I think the same way that they led people in with Bernie to bring him into Joe Biden, just to make an example.
Hey, Joe Biden is a fucking idiot. Have you seen some of the videos of him like sniffing girls' hair and like touching them weird and shit?
Yeah. I think he's I think he's not only a predator and a pederast, but I think he has dementia. I think he's on cognitive decline. I think that if he did get elected, if they run with him, he gets elected, I think they'll use a deep fake, a CGI Biden in order to communicate with the people. Lord knows he is not running his Twitter account.
Oh, yeah.
Lord knows Donald Trump is definitely running his Twitter account.
Absolutely.
So there's
Have you seen the comparisons of how Donald Trump talked about like the white protesters and now how he's talking about the black protesters and like his word choice and the way he's like portraying them?
I have. Man, it's hard to play devil's advocate with Donald Trump, but try as I might, because I again, like if we're gonna unpack it, we gotta be truthful in our observations, right? So, first of all, I don't think we should trust the media about anything. However, I don't like CNN, but if they legitimately arrested their reporters this morning, that's fucking evil. That's evil. That's
what?
It was a reporter. I forget his first name. Jimenez was his last name. Oh fuck, maybe it was Oscar Jimenez. Was first. He's a CNN reporter. Mm-hmm. Was arrested by Minneapolis police along with the camera crew live on TV.
Oh, for what?
It doesn't matter. It's a police state. So I had posted something on my friend Casey's. He had a Facebook post about an agent provocateur. So they've been seeing these. There's one guy in particular. It's a white dude.
Was he smashing the windows?
Yes, he was.
I saw that video, and now they're saying that they're like undercover or whatever, causing, like starting the shit. Yeah. Supposedly he, I believe, is from St. Paul Police Department. That's the city across. I think it's a river. It's right there. Minneapolis. It's the Twin Cities. So there's like a river that divides Minneapolis and St. Paul. Mm-hmm. So Minneapolis has fallen, and apparently this guy has ties with law enforcement in St. Paul. Now the police department there already denied it, yet they didn't use an officer's name. So it's kind of like a just like a broad sort of we at the network want to apologize. You know what I mean? Like it was not a sincere nor thought out response. I think it was just something to be like, yo, we can't have that happen here. Quell it. What I think happened is that these agent provocateurs went into these black neighborhoods and escalated this. It doesn't make sense, dude. George Floyd's fucking family, after they watched their family member get murdered
and I'm sorry I'm getting choked up, but like, no, fuck it, man, get murdered, and they broadcast them on fucking Facebook.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And everybody's sharing it. And we see this. This is a fucking message. This isn't just police brutality. This is more than that. And we have to quit letting the media tell us what shit is. There was a MSNBC reporter standing in front of a building ablaze, and he's saying that it's a protest and nothing's out of control. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Now, I'm not saying that to excuse anything about the riot. I'm just saying that dude reporting the news. Are you fucking kidding me? We can't take their word on shit, right? I think that what happened, and I'm seeing a lot of evidence and a lot of eyewitness report. You go to Instagram and you just start following people. Shit, man. Plant-based omnivore. I started following her earlier this week. She's just continuously posting stuff on there. I don't know what political side she is on. I don't give a shit. Like this is bigger than just Orange Man bad and Orange Man good, right? So it doesn't make sense to me that why would his family and his neighbors then be so outraged with the state abusing and overriding and violating their 4th and 5th Amendments to the point where a man died to then destroy their own neighborhood? You're telling me that they went in, they destroyed their government-assisted living homes? You're telling me that they destroyed their independent businesses? That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense to me, man. I don't think that this is just some racist asshole shit.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if these people are out here, like, undercover starting shit.
I think they are, dude.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, as much as happened in 2020 already, I would not be surprised if some bullshit like that.
You notice how nobody was worried about social distancing whenever they were out there in the streets, right? Yeah. And I don't want this to say like I'm pro or con what any of the protesters were doing. I ain't talking about that. I'm just talking about the results, present tense, where we're at, and how it got here was the murder of this man and being televised. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Facebook and all these big companies, they're trying to usher in a monopoly on information, I feel. And not only that, but a monopoly on resources. Like we're blessed to be, I don't like our governor. What's his name? Brian Kemp. Like, I'm not a fan of him, but I'm really glad that our state is open. Like, there's some of these states, like, people aren't allowed to leave. Mm-hmm. And they're trapped in these cinder block worlds. And they can't get outside and see the sun. Like we can step out in the South and there's green. Yeah. Like, almost anywhere. There's only a few select places that are, like, so dense where, like, there's not grass and trees and shit. But I don't know, man. I think with... I'll say this about the tweet. Bad tweet where it was the looting and shooting tweet that he made. Bad tweet.
Yeah.
Bad tweet, man.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, that's... And, like, I get, like, appeasing, like, some sort of rabid fan base, but, hey, man, this is a fucking bipartisanship needs to stop.
He's definitely got...
And the partisanship needs to stop.
Yeah. You can't doubt it though. Donald Trump definitely has a bunch of followers that are like diehard Donald Trump, you know.
No doubt.
But that's the same with every political candidate. There's always going to be somebody that, like,
for the most part,
that's their whole life.
For the most part, his audience, however, they're not going anywhere. Like, they're not. Yeah. And that's the rare thing in politics with him is that his fan base is like they know he's a douchebag. Like, that's exactly what it is. He's a fucking douchebag. There's pros and cons with it. But that was a bad fucking tweet. That's not a good tweet. Bad Trump. The thing that worries me the most is I think a lot of folks are kind of missing the bigger picture here. So the folks that were at was it the Women's March with the pink pussy hat protest initially, right? Then, this most recent protest and the open up protest where people like, let us, like, you have no right to do this. They're all fighting the same enemy. Mm-hmm. It's all this authoritarian government, right? And if all we're focused on is like, well, we need to get Trump out of the office and then we'll succeed, bro. The left side of the aisle, to my greatest understanding, is fucking compromise. And I think it's compromised because of the DNC. The DNC were slave owners back in the fucking day, man. It wasn't the Republicans. Republicans started as a abolitionist party. That's not to say that they've held up to those to those values, but the DNC, if you look at systemic oppression of Black Americans over the past 150 years, they're through DNC programs, like. And I don't think that's coincidental, like, at all. And if you look at, like, mainstream media, it's almost entirely DNC operated. It's kind of like what we were talking about with Pride Month, and, like, all these companies will just hop on the bandwagon. And
it's only for June. Like, when June is over, that's pretty much it. They don't give a fuck about Pride Month anymore.
Yeah.
Or like, the Pride community or anything like that.
No. It's a token, right? Mm-hmm. It's all this identity politics bullshit.
It's just to show how inclusive they are.
Yeah, quote unquote.
Yeah, and I hate to say that with my own, like, inclusivity coming into perspective recently with that whole thing that went down a couple days ago.
You can't please everybody.
That's what I'm saying. And then it was coming from, there was a girl, okay. The first girl was mad because of something that she made up completely on her own, like, brought it in her mind and then decided to fucking go on about it. Mm-hmm. She's mad because in her mind, I don't work with plus-sized people. And then when I was like, okay, fine, like, if I'll work with a plus-sized woman. If somebody will do it, I'll do it. Like, I don't have any problem with it. The only reason that I haven't done it yet is because nobody wants to do it. But, and another girl was mad because I wanted to work with a plus-size model. And it's just like, what do you want from me? Like, do you want it...
What do you call this? I guess they would be absolutists. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like a hard line, a hard one or a hard zero. It's like, bro, man, I just want to eat breakfast right now, you know? I just started my day. I think that all this... All that stuff. I think I had a post on it, and I think I triggered a couple of friends. It was like a meme where it was talking about all the identity politics, like, hubbub from, like, the past 3 years, and then 2020 happens, and then everybody's quiet, nobody cares. Everybody's just like, hey man, we need to, like, concentrate and work together, you know. And to me, like, that is really profound because the meme followed up with, it's almost as if those arguments or those ideas, like, weren't real, or, like, those problems weren't real. It's like, it's kind of true in its own way because we gave those ideas power, right? So, like, there's this old documentary on HBO where it was about, like, something like Klans members in the 90s or something. And they were talking about, like, yeah, we're going to come back up and rise again, brother, and just you wait. And, like, they had all this hype of the community, and, like, they were, you know, trying to get all these TV spots, and the news, of course, was just like, you know, so what do you want to tell our listeners? Black people are evil! Save yourself! The homosexuals will damn us all! Well, thank you, Reverend. Where can we see you? Be at the courthouse at 9, we're going to march! So and it's pretty despicable that it's like, even though, like, you know, obviously I'm adding, like, comedic flair to it, like, the television, like, they broadcast this guy and, like, put it out there and just like, oh, where are you going to be? And they're pretending it like it's a laughing joke and something to be despised, but at the same time they're promoting it. Mm-hmm. They're promoting it because they know it'll trigger people. But aside from that, it's also informing people as well. But the irony is that the HBO documentarian went to the rally and there was, like, 3 people there. Everybody else was just like, well, I mean, fuck, if the Klan's going to be there, we're not going to fucking give them power.
Yeah.
So everybody stayed home. And now, like, 30 years later, like, it has become, like, the opposite of that, where, again, up until, like, shutdown and you start seeing martial law start happening, where we had all of these quote-unquote problems, and they weren't problems, man. Like, it was media and social media was getting everybody hyped up to get emotional and reactionary rather than responsive, right?
Right.
There's a big difference between reacting and responding to something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think about all this going on with Minneapolis and
I think I guess it's a necessary step, because looking at how everything has progressed over the years, it continues to happen. So when is it not going to happen? What needs to happen so that black people will stop dying? I personally don't really have a problem with the riot. I mean, it's whatever.
I think that I don't have a problem with them burning the police station. Let me say that. No problems, no qualms in the slightest. I'm not anti-cop in the slightest, but that's a crooked police department.
Right.
Clearly.
I mean,
it deserves to be fucking burned.
I definitely don't feel anti-cop by any means, but you can't deny that there are certainly bad cops out there.
Absolutely.
And then not only are the bad cops, surrounded by good cops, but all the good cops are getting lumped into the idea that all cops are bad. And I mean...
Well, I think the argument is used that because they're aware of the bad cops and do nothing, therefore they are equivalent to them. And which I get the passion in that argument. I don't think that's the right way to solve the problem.
Right. But I do feel if you're a police officer, you need to be a little bit more proactive as far as, hey, my coworker has some really fucked up things. The guy that killed the guy recently has a history of...
enough does.
Yeah, he has a history of misconduct with the police force. So why has there been no action taken against him? And now that someone is dead, now there's attention on it. Now everyone cares.
See, these are the questions that we need to be asking, right? So it's my knowledge that the mayor is in charge of the police force. The chief of police would answer to the mayor of a city, right? Now, aside from that, I can't prove this, obviously. Anecdotally, I came across an article earlier today that mentioned that, what's her name? Klobuchar? She was running for president, and now she's, I guess, hoping to be a VP or something. I don't even know. Yeah. I think her name's Amy Klobuchar. But she was running for the senatorial race in Minnesota. And one of these numerous scandals popped up again with this same officer. I use that term as loosely as I fucking can. Right. And that she was aware of it. But because it was in the midst of a political campaign, it was hushed because it was deemed that it would have created a scandal. Think about that. So it would have created a scandal for her and her political campaign.
And that brings up that the political parties just playing. It's a game.
Exactly. I think I made this point before on a show, but I talked about Bernie Sanders and I really wish Bernie Sanders in 2016 would have ran independent because it would have sent a message. It would have sent a message to everybody that he was a populist and he wasn't going to align himself with the DNC. The DNC fucking hacked his election in 2016. And they had the media giant to push everything that was Clinton, which I'm not a fan. But I like Bernie Sanders. I think he's a really honorable dude. I think he sold out, man. I think he sold out to the wrong team. And I think that hopefully, no matter what comes, if there's a third-party candidate that runs in 2020, it's going to send a message to the DNC, right? That's where the change needs to happen. I think because it's not happening, that's why people are getting violent. And again, I agree with you that some of these things are necessary, right? I don't have a problem at all with the destruction to the property of their oppressors, but whenever you see these videos of these fucking dudes dressed in almost like cop gear going in and smashing windows of businesses, there's a study they found out years ago, right? It's called the broken window effect, and what it does is it encourages people to loot a property if they see that windows are broken already. It's just something that it's like a genetic program in all of us that it just triggers up. Right. And
I've seen videos of. Okay, I saw a video in particular of this lady running with fucking lamps. I saw another one, or a picture rather, of a guy like walking out with a bunch of Legos and shit. So, I mean, whatever, man. If there was a fucking riot and a bunch of looting going on at our local Target, I absolutely would. Yeah, I absolutely would go in there and try to find some shit that I couldn't afford normally. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the wrong argument, too. When people are like, look at them, they're stealing Legos.
Like,
it's like, okay,
you would do it, too.
Hold up. If they're already committing theft, does it really matter what and why they're taken if you're like stealing is wrong?
I mean,
right?
just
so it's
pull
like
your shirt
okay,
over your face or something.
Well, I mean, if you're breaking into Target and like you're stealing something non-essential, I don't give a shit what it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm.
Hey, we went without toilet paper for a couple weeks, so I'm goddamn getting my fucking toilet paper from Target. All right.
I have to put my foot down somewhere.
Yeah.
This is gonna be where it's at. I think my whole thing is that if you're not stealing from me, like.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not oppressing anybody.
It's a multi-million-dollar company. I promise you, they will recover from that.
Right. The and that makes sense as far as like how people rebel, right? But whenever you're talking about like you see these like folks are business owners and like some stores like they're fucking packing heat. Black guns matter.
Yeah, true.
Like that's fucking like Second Amendment. I'm telling you, man. Like. This whole experience has changed a lot of people's mind on like why the Second Amendment is fucking necessary. It's a necessary evil because it's the argument that check it out, if it's inalienable right of all of us, right, then that means it's God given, it's innate. Not given to us by the government. It means the government's there to make sure nobody takes it from us. Mm-hmm. And the Second Amendment is the right to defend yourself, to keep yourself alive from a tyrannical, evil force. So, to me, that's just an authoritarian government. It doesn't matter what political party they are or anything like that. Everything on the right side of the aisle points to Donald Trump. Everything. And he's sort of carrying the torch. Everything on the left side of the aisle is in utter chaos. Case in point, the man in the lead for it has dementia. So in dementia, you don't know what's going on. I just lost my grandmother this week, and after probably God rest her soul, like 7 or 8 years of like just watching her slowly die from like dementia and Alzheimer's, and just like fuck, man, like it's not good. It's disarray, right. And that's who's in charge of like keeping things. The force that's in charge of keeping the right in check is in disarray, and to the point to where Minneapolis, which is it's a left city, let its people down so much that they fucking destroyed their own city. They destroyed their own city. And now, I don't think that the catalyst was them destroying their own neighborhoods. I think other people provoked that, agent provocateurs. However, the police force in the 3rd precinct, somebody posted on Instagram earlier, all the cops getting out. All of them. All of them. Left the whole precinct. It's taken. Now, I think the question is going to be what's going to happen over the weekend. What do you think?
I'm not sure.
Have you seen they're starting to spark up in other cities?
Like I wouldn't be surprised.
New York, Louisville, Kentucky, Denver.
Can we take a break real quick so I can get my cigarettes?
Yeah.
You just want to start that conversation?
Oh, just back from pee break.
Yeah.
Thank God we put all that heroin in our bodies and all that methamphetamine.
Shoot that shit up.
Oh my God.
But we were talking about you could like tell people, I don't know.
Well, you could tell if you're you could tell how not only just like how superficial like a person can be, like if you're trying to be intimate with them, but I think whether or not you can jive with them or connect with them on like some deep level. If you're like if you take like psychedelics with somebody, right? As we were talking, and had taken mushrooms before with a girl and enjoyed her as a person. Still do, but like in that experience, like I thought I was attracted to her until I was like on like a deeper level than just superficial reality, and then I was like, I feel like no like deep connection there, and immediately I lost interest in it.
I think because over the years I've kind of like let go of myself, and I'm not necessarily interested in impressing people. It's kind of just, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It's kind of just, I'm not actively going out of my way to try to impress anyone. It's just
nor do I think you should, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, like I care what people think about me.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I care what people think, but I'm not gonna pretend to be someone else, and I'm not gonna put on like a facade to like pretend, or just, I don't know.
I think I'm too intense and too much of a loudmouth and opinionated in general to really care. And it's not to say that like I don't care about like people's ideas. Like I think ideas other people have are fascinating. That's what makes life awesome is people that aren't me, people that don't think like me, people that don't have the same cultural background as me. Like the one thing I found with my core group of friends over the years that has sort of kept us bonded together has just been comedy. Like all of us just like trying to like make the other ones laugh.
And I feel like that, like having a good friendship like that where you can always make jokes and you always have something to laugh about, those are the best friendships to have.
Oh hell yeah.
And a couple of the pretty much the main couple that I work with, the guy and the girl, they're fucking married. They've been together for like 7 years now, and you can tell that they genuinely love each other. And we have a friendship together, and man, I love them. And not only do I love them, but having them model for me and stuff, I respect them so much. And I respect all the models that have worked with me too, because I really wouldn't be anywhere without them, honestly. And it's not like I'm somewhere now, like I'm still here, but
further than you were a year ago. Yeah. Further than you were 2 years ago.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
And I'm supposed to be moving to North Carolina, over the summer, and I'm excited about that. I'm ready to get out. But the closer it gets, the more guilty I feel a little bit, honestly. And I feel like I could have been like a better person, or I could have been like, I'm not gonna say nicer to people, because I try to be nice, but if you fuck with me, like I'm gonna fuck with you. Like that's just how I am sometimes, and I'm not proud about that, but I don't know. I'm ready to get out and then transcend the Valdosta way of thinking, like nobody can be better than me, or
it's met a few big fish in such a small pond. You know what I mean? Will be your first time moving out of the area.
Yeah, I'm excited about it though.
Dude, you should be excited about it, man. What part of North Carolina?
Oh shit, I don't even know yet. I forgot already. And I've noticed every time I've gone to North Carolina, they don't say like, let's say Louisville or something. They say Louisville. It's like the Vul part.
Yeah,
they don't say Ville. Yeah. So I got to get used to that.
It's and I've driven Appalachian accents. It's part like my twang. Yeah. Like my family's from West Virginia, so we would have like the Hicks in our family. Be like, what's up down there? So in Louisville?
Oh shit.
It's like, oh yeah, sure. Went to Louisville. But you've been to Asheville, North Carolina?
Yeah, I think so.
Like it's got a street art all over the place. It's got a.
There was I've actually talked to a couple people from North Carolina already that like hit me up on Instagram. Mm-hmm. There was one girl a while back that like does mural art and like does stuff like that. And the first costume that I did, the Oracle one, she wanted to do like a mural of it. She never did do it, which kind of sucks. And I've noticed that a lot of people that do hit me up and they're like, can I paint this or something? Like, they never end up painting it. And it's like, I would love for you to paint it. It would be amazing if you painted something that I made. Like, I would love to see that, but they just never do it, and it really sucks. But
maybe they just need more time, you know.
True. True.
Put your dick back in your pants.
Yeah. Shit. But you were talking about Reddit earlier. You like briefly mentioned Reddit or something.
Reddit philosophers.
Yeah. I did make a Reddit, and I tried to like branch out a little bit and get some more exposure. Mm-hmm. People on Reddit can be mean as fuck for no reason, just no reason at all, just mean as fuck.
What's something Joe Rogan said is don't read the comments, get somebody else to manage it for you.
Yeah.
So may not be such a bad idea. I mean, you've golly, trying to think. I gotta pull up your page. I'm not really big on pulling up a phone in the middle of a podcast, but there's one in particular you did where I was like, oh my gosh, I want to ask him about this. What's the your titles? I like that you title a lot of your stuff as well, because I'm a nerd with titles, so I get nerdgasms whenever I read like what somebody calls their art.
Right.
What are some of your favorite titles you've come up with so far?
Let me look at the titles as well, because whenever I go to post a picture, I usually just put the first thing that comes to mind, and I feel it fits well. So let's see.
So this one.
Oh yeah, I love that.
It's like it reminds me of was it Paradise Lost or whatever is in the. It's a scene. I think it's in the Sistine Chapel where it's like a man sitting on a stone and the condemned are like falling all around him, and he's just like staring, like the eyes follow you around the room.
So for that one, I found this picture, and it was like a classical painting, and it was a guy playing a violin. And when I saw that picture, it really just kind of blossomed into this idea of having somebody sit like on this like tall thing or whatever, and then all the bodies around it like hanging off of it. But yeah, I'm really thankful that he was comfortable with that, and I thought it turned out pretty well. Like, but the original caption, "Touch the Rock," I got that from In the Tall Grass.
What is that?
The Stephen King movie on Netflix. You should really watch it. I love that movie. I've watched it at least like 6 or 7 times already. It's pretty good.
I don't know. Dude, I've fallen out of like. I think it's maybe because like when I start getting like nuts deep into like conspiracies and politics and like independent journalists and stuff like that, and independent filmmakers. After being so absorbed in that, then normally when I go to like Netflix and Hulu, I'm ready for fucking cartoons.
Oh yeah,
I want to detach myself.
Yeah,
but I like Stephen King. I think I know the one where you're talking about because it looks like that.
It's a good movie.
It's like a cornfield or something, right?
It looks like it's going to be a shit movie, but once it really
shit movies can be pretty fun.
That's what I'm saying, and it was really good. Okay, have you seen Gerald's Game?
No, that's one where she's handcuffed to the bed and the dogs come, right?
That one is also a Stephen King movie, and it's good, but it's not as good as In the Tall Grass, in my opinion. You should definitely watch it. Like,
all right.
Because if
I watch it and it sucks terribly.
No. When you watch it, and then when you realize when it's like what the Touch the Rock thing is about, you'll understand. Like,
all right. If it'll help me understand your artwork more, I will. I will invest that.
Hold on now. It's not going to help you understand it's the picture. It's going to help you understand just like where my mind was at when I was like going to post it.
I got you.
Because like I said, it's the first thing that comes to mind whenever I post one. Let's see if I can find another one.
So the Pandora one, did you make the box itself?
No, I didn't make the box. I did make the gloves and the pearl thing that she's wearing. She had everything else though. I had the boa, but yeah.
These gloves are pretty luxurious.
Yeah.
They're translucent. Man, that's
just a little bit kind of sheer.
I like your lighting as well. It's because it's very kind of like what we were talking about earlier, that contrast of like, pale bodies on a stark black background.
Yeah.
Like they just like
and
pop.
I'm not using professional lighting by any means. I'm literally using like the DIY lighting clips from Walmart and just some fucking floodlights that I found. But for what it's worth, that's what I'm saying. Like for what it's worth, I feel like everything is turning out pretty well. I mean, I haven't seen anybody else around here doing stuff like that, and you know, I don't see
anybody around here doing photography like this.
I'm fully aware that, you know, I'm not special by any means. Anybody can do this pretty much, and certainly, you know, if you want to do it, go for it. But I don't personally see anybody else doing similar stuff, I guess. I'm not sure.
The way I view it is, when people use that argument of like, well, anybody could do that, it's like, well, did you do it?
That's what I'm saying.
What are you creating?
You're welcome to do it. Like, if you feel like you can do better than me, then by all means do better than me. But
that's normally my criticism when I would meet musicians and like artists. I would be like, a little bit of advice or little critique. If you don't mind. It's like, I mean, you can think whatever you want, man. Sure, go ahead.
And
you know?
people love to share their opinions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's about your creation.
Yeah. And not only that, but you know, whenever I post stuff about like looking for a model for something, I've had quite a few people hit me up, and then I'm sorry, but I didn't see what I wanted to see in them, so I, you know, was not interested in working with them, and they feel entitled. They feel entitled that they like, I have to accept them and I have to work with them. Like, okay, first of all, I'm offering free photo shoots, so I can do what I want with my free photo shoots. You know what I'm saying? Like,
precisely.
And I can be a little bit selective when it comes to who I want to work with, and I'm never rude about it. I'm never like, I never call anyone, like I said, ugly or fat or anything like that. I'm respectful, but opinions, man, people love to share them.
Oh yeah, well, I think it's another thing too that you'll notice about artists and people that aren't very creative or very imaginative, right? And they'll know exactly what you need. They'll know exactly like what you're trying to say. You made it all like for them, and oh god, it touches them. Mm-hmm. They're so happy that you were able to bring something they like into existence. Whereas you should look at it and be like, wow, this person made this. Like, I get amazed at art, and when I see fucking airplanes in the sky, because I'm just like, dude, there's fucking people up there. Like we figured out how to do that. We figured out how to fucking paint the Sistine Chapel. How to compose like the Suite of the Planets. How to make a sick hip hop beat. How to make an awesome film, and we launch people in tubes in the sky from one part of the planet to another.
Shit.
People say humans suck. Whatever. We're fucking awesome. We're fucking awesome.
But I don't know. I love all types of art, and I try to surround myself and with similar like-minded artists. I guess, like, if you ever look at the people that I'm following on Instagram, it pretty much shows like what I'm personally interested in, I guess.
Right.
I know a lot of people will follow like a bunch of influencers and stuff, and like people who are constantly like, I don't know, having like I don't know how to say
like
it.
Celebrity culture still?
Yeah.
Or remnants of
kind of, yeah, but it's like
culture?
Social media, like influencers and stuff, that whole mentality of like entertainment, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really into that type of stuff. I like to look at art mostly.
I just I put this coffee pot up. I've kind of going back to like the whole Netflix thing. I've just found myself like so. When I see the modern like celebrity culture, man, it's almost like it's like a combining. How can I put it? It's like nostalgia, but like fetishizing nostalgia in a way. You know what I mean? So it's like people will get more butthurt if you talk shit on like Marvel, DC, or like fucking Harry Potter or thing like that. If you say something about Allah or Jesus or.
I need to ask you though, Marvel or DC?
Well, if we're going by the film franchise, again, I'm not caught up on either of them.
Okay,
so,
all right.
So this is not a fan talking. So this is just average dipshit Joe talking. The pros I see about Marvel is it's a consistent production. Marvel has that. So even though like you look at like Iron Man 1, it's a little dated CGI, but
true.
A lot of the modern ones, the CGI still it looks more fake now than it did previously. And I've seen film critics break down why, and a lot of it has to do with shadow rendering in the CGI, and the other one has to do with the environments. They're putting actors into like a completely CGI environment versus what they did like 20, 30 years ago was they're filmed either on a set or at a location, and then they would bring the CGI elements into the environment.
Right.
So now they're trying to bring real people into a complete thing, and the technology is not there to where we suspend our disbelief as greatly as we did with their older films. But again, Marvel's production, consistent. Right. I cannot say that about the DC franchise, that they are as consistent with the level of production. However, the cons with that is that a lot of the Marvel movies end up feeling kind of the same. You know?
Yeah.
So you're able to sort of like predict your peaks and valleys throughout the film.
Yeah. I guess Marvel's a little bit more of like a safety net for superhero movies, because you always know there's going to be like an action sequence and there's going to be a joke here and there, you know, so.
But people will still die. So I like that about, because now they're owned by Disney, which of course Disney owns fucking everything almost.
Yeah, for sure.
But Disney, though, they I think maybe it's probably because they, part of their wickedness, but they do keep it real as far as like, hey, yo, how's like fucking Bambi and Lion King start off with fucking death? Like that's like the main antagonist in the movie, right? Is like the death of like a parent or something. And it's like, god damn, Disney's fucking terrifying off the rip. But I haven't seen, golly, I haven't even seen, I don't think, any but the first Avengers. So,
what?
So I mean, I know
so
how
far behind.
Well, I mean, I know how it all ends. Obviously, you know what I mean.
Okay, yeah.
Snap.
Yeah, for sure.
But still, like Marvel, as far as like the total thing, I think Marvel's got the upper hand on DC totally. Yeah. However, within the DC world, I think there have been some phenomenal films. So I think Christopher Nolan's take on the Batman franchise,
honestly,
gorgeous, dude.
I do love those Batman movies. In my opinion, there can be no other Joker. Heath Ledger was the best one.
Did you see Joaquin Phoenix?
No, I haven't seen the new Joker yet.
It's worth a watch. It'll polarize you. You'll either be like, God damn, that was good, or God damn, what a waste of time.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've not seen anything else.
I watch a lot of YouTube, and I've watched a lot of CinemaSins, and I've been staying off of the Joker one because I don't want to watch it and then like watch the CinemaSins and then watch the movie thinking like, oh, they fucked up there or something, you know, like right. I don't know. I tend to look at movies very like cynical sometimes, like because one particular thing can like ruin a whole scene. Like Absolutely. If it's like a fucking water bottle on the table, like Game of Thrones, like that whole thing,
or Starbucks cup.
Yeah, stuff like that can just ruin the whole thing for me.
I still haven't finished Game of Thrones. I think I'm the episode before Jon Snow quote unquote dies.
Yeah, I haven't finished Game of Thrones either, but I've seen a lot of pictures, of like the horse drawing where the butt is really, really nicely detailed, and then the next section is not as detailed, and it ends up being a fucking stick drawing.
Yeah. Talking about the season progression.
Yeah, so that's why I've kind of been holding off of watching Game of Thrones. But I still asked you, Marvel or DC?
Well, I haven't finished unpacking DC, so also in DC, I would say Batman is my favorite character out of DC, just because of the versatility of that like sort of universe in the Gotham universe. So you can have a lot of different artists take on the Batman like story. So right. I like that about that angle, and that has consistency. Even the shitty ones, even what was his name, Jared Leto's Joker.
Oh God, yeah. I don't like him very much, but his Joker was okay. I wish there was more Joker in the Suicide Squad movie. I haven't watched Birds of Prey.
I don't think I need to. I think that what they did was they made a preview for what could have been a Netflix series, and instead they're like, "Oh, let's just make one and make it a movie."
Yeah.
And then
I could see that.
And so like one character, I think the total lines of dialogue they have is like maybe a paragraph in the whole movie.
Are you talking about Killer Croc, where he just like grunts the whole time or something?
No.
Oh, I like her.
No, who's the dude who gets like his head like pops off early for disobeying the rules?
Oh, it was like Slipknot or something was the character's name. Yeah. And he like zip lines the thing, and then I know what you're talking about. I will say though, I think Margot Robbie was an excellent choice.
Oh my God,
for
dude.
Harley Quinn. Excellent, yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah, and I will say, I'm Marvel all the way. I love Marvel, but when it comes to DC movies, they did get a lot of the characters right. Like they got Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, perfect Wonder Woman. Yeah, and that's about it. That's the only two. Yeah.
Now I like Tim Burton's takes on Batman as well.
Those are really good. I remember watching those movies as a kid. Those were some really good Batman movies.
Jack Nicholson. That's a good Joker.
I think the thing I love about those movies the most is how campy it was and how it was perfect.
It's fucking like Prince has a song in the first Batman movie, he's floating on a parade.
Yeah, perfect.
Fucking Prince. Have you ever seen Purple Rain? Speaking of Prince.
No, I don't think I've ever seen Purple Rain. I'll be honest with you, I haven't listened to a lot of Prince.
Watch Purple Rain. You'll be inspired. Or not. You may hate it.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm kind of, I'm either this or that with stuff like that. I don't know.
Prince is fucking phenomenal. He played, when I make my records, I have to, other than, string instruments, they're, guitar, bass, acoustics, mandolin, stuff like that. I have to build it, in a machine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, he would play all this stuff. He would, he played the drums, he played the bass, he played the keys, and the guitar. He's a phenomenal guitar player, and he's a songwriter, and he's an epitome of that's a sexy motherfucker.
Yeah.
When you think of the word sexy motherfucker,
you think
Prince. I'm just saying, he pops up.
So, I don't know. Well, who is your celebrity crush? Who's your biggest one?
Oh man, I have no idea. I'd have to think on that. Gee whiz.
I'm trying to think of mine as well.
Well, because celebrity crush is I don't know. I think it for me, it doesn't encapsulate how just unfathomably, stupidly beautiful womanhood is. I am there's nothing more beautiful to me than that. I think one of the most beautiful sounds in the world is a woman's ugly laugh. So the real shit, the cackling, wheezing, that. My ego eats that shit up, dude. Because if I'm attracted to her and I can make her laugh like that, then I have to convince her that I'm the funniest man alive.
Right. So you're talking about Jennifer Lawrence or something like that? Is that
I don't know. She's quick-witted. I like her a lot. But again, I've I don't know. I've seen her booty hole so many times blasted over the internet.
I think my favorite...
Where I feel I shouldn't put her in that category because it's I don't know, man. I don't want to pigeonhole her as just being that.
Yeah.
Because if you've got the range that Jennifer Lawrence has to act in that ability, then that means your personality is that's a dynamic personality, and that's beautiful.
I think she did make an excellent Mystique. Did you ever watch the X-Men movies where she was Mystique?
For real?
Yeah, she made a great Mystique because Rebecca Romaine was the original Mystique. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, Marvel all the way. I love all of that shit. Even though
X-Men is dope as fuck. That's a cool franchise.
My fucking dog's name is Gambit. He's named after a fucking mutant. So yeah.
When I was young, Saturday morning cartoons, the X-Men franchise would come on, and
I remember watching those.
I remember they would come on early enough because I wasn't allowed much TV time. It'd get around 9:30, 10. My dad would all right, I'm gonna go inside and get to work. But I mean, it's good. You know, he didn't let us just sit inside and watch TV all day. He made us go outside and play. But yeah, Gambit and Rogue were my favorite characters, and I mean Wolverine, of course.
I think my favorite.
But Patrick Stewart as Professor X is my favorite.
Absolutely.
Any representation of any X-Men.
See, I think X-Men is definitely my favorite, and I'm very excited that Disney now owns them pretty much, so they can make similar movies to like the Avengers and stuff. Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, those were great movies. Like, they're blockbusters for a reason because they're good. But when they can finally start making X-Men movies like that, I feel like it's gonna feel so good. Like, because I remember watching all the X-Men movies and like the TV shows and the animated ones, everything. Like, but yeah, my favorite characters from X-Men, I would definitely say it's Storm, and Mystique is good too. But I saw recently that apparently they were talking to Rihanna about playing Storm for an upcoming X-Men movie, which I'm totally down for. I hope they choose a black woman for that. And Rihanna is not.
Why would you not? Is like, because Storm's black, is she not?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like Halle Berry wasn't black, and I mean, I don't know.
I think even the voice actress, like, for her on the animated show was black as well. I could be wrong on that, but pretty sure.
But I mean, Disney has been really good about like diverse cast members.
Well, and where it makes sense too. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So like
Nick Fury in the comics was white, and they picked Samuel L. Jackson, which, by the way, Samuel L. Jackson is probably in my top 10 favorite actors.
Oh, he's a bad
that motherfucker can act.
You've seen Pulp Fiction, I hope.
Oh, absolutely, numerous times.
Dude. Well, there's something about that movie that's just fucking magical. Like, Samuel L. Jackson brings it alive in like the first 20 minutes, where you're just like, what is this movie? Like, he just sucks you in, and then it turns out he's not even the main character. It's an ensemble. There is no main character.
Yeah.
Like, I like movies like that a lot as well, which I think X-Men brings to light with that.
Who did direct Pulp Fiction? I forgot.
Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah, I love all of his movies. Have you seen Hateful Eight?
I have. I have not seen, was it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I haven't seen that one.
That's the only one of his I haven't seen.
Yeah, that one came out recently, though, didn't it? Yeah.
So I have a thing with, there's a few directors I have that I purposely don't watch the trailers. I just wait until I can watch the movie, and then it's like, I want to watch this. So Quentin Tarantino is one of them. I have no idea. I know roughly who's in the movie and what they look like from screenshots and memes.
Right.
But I don't know any details about the movie. And that's fine. When I got time to watch it, I'm going to sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
P.T. Anderson, he made There Will Be Blood, Boogie Nights, The Master.
I don't think I've seen any of those.
You haven't seen Boogie Nights? Dude, it's about the 1970s and 80s era of porn in Los Angeles. Mark Wahlberg, it was his comeback role when he was Marky Mark. This was his first legitimate movie. He plays
Mark Wahlberg.
He plays this 17-year-old kid named Eddie Torrance. Eddie Torrance has a 13-inch fucking hog hanging between his legs.
Yeah.
So he makes money whoring himself out to perverts as he works as a busboy, like showing them like charges like $5 to see his dick, and $10 if like for him to like touch and get himself hard. And this porn director, played by Burt Reynolds, walks in and he's like, that's a good looking kid. Let's see what's up with that kid. Because he was like, hey, come to the back. And he's like, why does this kid ask me to go to the back? I'm a porn director. I want to see what's up.
Yeah.
So he convinces him to, why don't you meet some of these girls? And in the ensemble cast, there's Don Cheadle from Marvel Universe, John C. Reilly, Heather Graham, Julianne Moore.
When did it come?
1999 or 2000, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a gorgeous film. It shows the decline. The first half is in the 70s. And then one of the, spoiler alert, one of the cast members kills himself halfway through. And then it's like, boom, here's the second half of the movie.
Shit.
And it's like a 3-hour movie. Who else is in it? Alfred Molina, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, shit.
Fucking Boogie Nights. There Will Be Blood is, I'm an oil man. I'll drink your milkshake. I drink it up. You haven't seen those memes?
Nope, never heard of that.
Drew. It's not an exciting movie. It's a pretty boring movie.
Well, that turned me off right there. I don't want to watch a boring movie.
But it's one of those movies that, tell you what, next time if you drink, if you're ever hungover, find yourself if you ingest in herbal remedies, find yourself something like that to quell your stomach and your tummy ache, and just put on There Will Be Blood. And it's not a loud movie, but like at parts when it gets loud, like you feel it, right? So it's just one of those movies where you have to kind of tell yourself that, all right, I'm just going to sit on this couch and just get sucked into this. But it's about an oil man at the beginning of the 20th century, and one of his workers has a kid, and the kid dies at the work scene, and he adopts the kid and raises him as his own and starts his journey to becoming an oil tycoon. But
Oil Master.
There Will Be Blood is the name of it.
Hell yeah.
But what's his name? Wes Anderson movies. I like his movies a lot.
Yeah, there's some movies of his I haven't really gotten into very much.
They're quirky.
Yeah, they are quite quirky.
They're quirky. My favorite creators are Trey Parker and Matt Stone from South Park. Which I would hope so, since I have characters tattooed on me that I would like that, you know what I mean? But I've found them throughout the years to be consistent with what I call American values, and that everybody gets the right to speak,
right,
and everything can be made fun of. If one thing can be made fun of, then everything can be made fun of. It's your right to not laugh if you don't want. But
I definitely respect like controversial humor sometimes, and I personally I like dark humor sometimes. I mean, there is some stuff that I personally don't find, humorous or whatever, but I'm sure there's somebody. Yeah, I'm sure there's somebody out there that does find it funny, and that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their own like outlook on life.
Right. Like if I'm in a room with my friends and another friend walks in and somebody hits them across the face with a fish, like that was just like check this out, I'm going to laugh.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But if I get hit in the face with a fish,
of course,
I'm not gonna think it's very funny.
It's like how it's funny to prank people, but it's not funny to get pranked.
Exactly.
But you were talking about getting hit in the face, and that reminded me of this one time when I was in class. It was a few years ago maybe, but there was this lady who was like, I would say mid-30s, and it was in the biology lab, and it was like tile floor. The chairs were rolling chairs, and not only that, but they were slick as fuck. And she sat on the front fucking row, okay? And I sat on the back row because I'm a cool kid. I like to sit in the back. But she came into class late one day, and then she put her stuff on the table and went to sit down. And, like, I guess she slid out of the chair while the chair was rolling. So, like, all I saw was her, like, falling to the ground. And the only noise that happened when she fell was her falling and me going, aha! And then I had to sit there with my face covered, and I was, like, shaking because I was giggling, and I was trying so hard not to make another noise. And then this was going on for like 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes later, I'm still sitting there trying to hold it together and not like verbally laugh at this bitch. And then the fucking teacher looks at me, and then we make direct eye contact, and then she like smirks and giggles a little bit, and that fucking like set me off. Like I had to leave the classroom, and I feel so bad for laughing at that woman, but she fell and it was funny, and I couldn't help myself but laugh. Like, I'm glad she's okay and everything, but shit, that was funny.
This is years ago, but I was with my girlfriend in the mountains, and we were in this park, and you take this trail that's sort of spirals around one side of the hill, and you get to the very top, and it's like you look down, it's like wow, like we're. Like, it's not a big mountain, but like, hey, we're on this mountain, right? So, feeling all like, cool and being like, hey, look at this cool vacation I'm providing. I take one step as I'm like in mid-sentence and just fall down this mountain. but like as slow and as awkward as like one can, like not like Looney Tunes style, like more like shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But in hindsight, she said that she knew then that I was funny, even though it was just me literally just falling down a mountain. She's like, that was so great. You should do that again.
Man, sometimes I embarrass myself, but I know, like, I deserved it. There was one time at band camp, we had just finished the day or something, and I played the baritone, and, like, I put the baritone back in the case, and I was, like, holding the case, and I was trying to be funny, and, like, I made this joke. I don't remember what the joke was, but I made this joke, and then I started running as fast as I could with the case in my arms. And then I ran into this bitch. And like, oh god, it was bad. I ran right into the fucking back of her. And then I like fell over the ground and shit. It was so bad. But it was funny. In hindsight, it was hilarious. But it is one of the things that keeps me up at night sometimes. Do you ever, like, when you're laying in bed, you just think about stuff that you did? And
I think about every fucking awful thing I've ever done.
Yeah. Like, I'll be in bed sometimes.
All of them. Speaking of... So in kindergarten, there was this girl, I want to say her name was Jennifer. I can't remember. But I had hurt her, I remember, on the playground, like, from, like, all of us just running around playing, like, tag or something, and she, like, hit my head on the side, but she hit, like, her face on, like, the side of my head as we were running, and, like, I made her cry. And I was like, oh, gosh. So in music class... They're playing this record, and we're all sitting on the floor in, like, you know, this giant, like, circle, and it's all about, like, lay on your back and kick your legs to the sky. And, you know, you do it with the music, and the song ends, and my final kick goes out and kicks the same girl, poor Jennifer, whatever it is, right in the face. The song stops on the beat, like it's the next one coming. She starts shrieking, screaming, crying, and nobody knows why except me and her.
Oh god.
That's not where it started, but I mean, I'm just saying that's just like one pocket out of the depths of my guilt. Nah, it's
Oh man, one time, it was like, I want to say 3rd or 4th grade. I'm pretty sure it may have been 4th. But there was this, in the teacher's classroom, there was this air freshener thing. And somebody, I guess, farted or something. There was a reason for us to need the air freshener. And it was me and another kid, and I forget the kid's name, but we walk up to the air freshener, and, like, I'm trying to get it to go. And this kid leans his eyeball directly in front of where it sprays out of. And then right as he did that, I pressed the button that made it spray, and it sprayed directly in his eyeball. That shit was hilarious.
You cruel son of a bitch.
Hey, I'm not the dumbass kid that put my eyeball that put his eyeball directly up to the fucking thing.
Oh man. When I was in 2nd grade, I got caught staring at a black kid's dick. Because I was
in 2nd grade.
2nd grade, I'd met other kids, like, on the playground that were, like, you know, African descent, but, like, he was, like, very, very dark.
Yeah.
Like, very, very dark skin. And, like, I was a young, curious boy. Like, I was, like, again, like 7 years old, and we're standing at the urinal, and I just look over because I don't think anything of it. I'm like, I wonder if his dick is the same color. And I just sort of look over and stare. And after like 2 seconds, I hear him shout, "Don't look at my penis!"
Fuck! Dude, be quiet! Yeah, shit, you little pervert. Why are you looking at a kid's dick?
I was curious.
Yeah, people are curious about...
Well, this is back before you had the internet. You know, now, I mean, shit, now, like, I mean, good lord, at the amount of dicks I've seen.
Yeah, true. I mean, I've seen fucking dicks scrolling down Facebook. It's like... I don't necessarily, like, look for that kind of stuff on Facebook, but damn, it finds me. But you're talking about looking at people's dicks and shit. A lot of people are very creepy on Instagram, and they will hit me up about some shit. And I've, like, posted a couple screenshots here and there, like,
I've seen a handful of them where it's like You had something about like NSFW content or something along those lines. I don't know if you were looking for models or if you were saying like, hey, if you like this, there's an extended library at here. It was something related to that, but
yeah,
it was like the next day, like you put out another post, you were like, yo, chill, like with this creepy ass shit.
I don't necessarily remember, but I have recently been doing a little bit more of like the unacceptable or the not Instagram appropriate stuff, which that's a whole different thing. But yeah, a lot of people, and then see, even though I have these pictures of these people who have modeled for me, I'm not gonna sell those photos, and I'm not gonna like expose them or anything because I respect them too much to do that. It wasn't part of our agreement before, like we did all the modeling and stuff. That's not what they agreed to.
It's admirable of them.
Yeah, even though I do have like model release forms and stuff, and that they've signed and everything, so it's my property and I can do with it what I want. But I don't have the desire to sell or post any of the more explicit ones.
Well, I mean, you have to be so vulnerable to kind of do that kind of art anyway, like model for that kind of art, that I think the last thing you want is to be exploited on top of it, what I mean?
I definitely agree with that. And it just goes back to that's not what they agreed to, so I don't want to, and I don't want them to like have a nice job or whatever, and I'm the reason that they get fired or something, or like
shit happens like that.
Yeah.
Granted, Big Brother knows about all of us anyway. Like when people are like, "Do you believe like they're gonna be tracking us?" It's like, man, they're already tracking you, bro.
Facebook knows all about you. And fucking Facebook is listening to this whole conversation too, because both of our phones are on the table. But yeah, have you seen any of like the oddly specific ads on Facebook where it's like, of course, I feel like everyone has, and nobody talks about it. Like.
Mine didn't really know what to do because for a while there was like all political ads, right? So like me personally, like Facebook didn't know what to make of the algorithm because I was following Bernie and the president and like polarizing figures and everybody in between. So there was one day I came across, it was an ad for Muslim singles.
Colter.
You
like the exotic ones.
I know a thing or two about kneeling to the Kaaba.
Sure.
Kaaba. It's Kaaba. I don't know much about Islam at all. I know.
I'm always so worried about mispronouncing stuff because I like to be respectful, and when I talk about stuff like that, I want to pronounce it correctly. You know what I'm saying? That's why when I look at like artists and stuff that have made paintings that I'm like recreating, it's always I want to make sure that I say their name correctly. And I feel like that's the respect thing coming in, you know what I'm saying?
Well, with me, I want to, if I'm wrong about something, I want somebody to correct me on.
Right,
you know
absolutely,
what I mean?
Of course.
And if I disagree, then, I mean, let's unpack the idea and like we can find common ground, you know what I mean? I think discussions aren't necessarily like the problem isn't solved from a discussion, yet you have to have discussions on the long term to sort of like solve a lot of problems, at least I don't know, how would you put it, social sciences, I guess, maybe, with all of us. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, you still didn't answer Marvel
or DC. Oh man, well, who else is there?
Like, just off the top of your head, which one do you prefer?
I'd probably say Marvel. Just because, like, DC, like, there's been some in DC. A lot of the Superman movies I've seen are just like, bro, flops.
Even though, like, all the superhero movies that have come out, I'm glad that Marvel is doing a more diverse group of superheroes. They're not doing, like... Because there have been so many Superman movies, so many Batman movies, and they're finally just now branching out in other movies, but they're still Batman or Superman movies.
Trying to tap that market for all it's worth.
And I think the biggest downfall to the DC movies is that they all feel rushed, and they don't feel... There's no continuity that goes along with those movies.
I don't think they're focused on long term, which makes sense if it's if like that market is like an oil well or something, right? Like it's not going to last forever. You know what I mean? So like you're going to have everybody that just wants that sort of quick fix, and it's a proven market. There was one Superman movie, I forget what they called it, but it had like Kevin Costner was in it. He was like Superman's adopted dad, and I think Russell Crowe was his original dad. I forget who played him.
When did it come out?
Maybe it was Man of Steel. It's probably like 10 years ago or something like that.
I think I vaguely remember that one, and that was just a not very memorable movie. And see, that's the thing about Marvel and DC movies, is that Marvel is those movies are always memorable, and then the DC movies, like I forgot what the plot to Justice League was.
I didn't even have interest to watch Justice League.
It's not very good.
That's what I've heard. I've heard. Let me see. I haven't seen Wonder Woman. Heard that's good.
Wonder Woman is good.
Haven't seen Black Panther. Heard that's
Black
good.
Panther is good as well. Yeah.
What was the last one out of comic book franchise I saw? Spider-Man: Homecoming. Saw that.
Homecoming was good.
I'll say this:
Far From Home was better.
It was a teenage movie, clearly. Like, because Peter Parker's a teenager, right? But they did a good job with it. Like, as far as like it was like he was a YouTube star or something along those lines.
I don't really know about that. I don't think that was part of it, but I don't remember. But Far From Home was better than Homecoming for sure.
Was that the animated one?
No. Into the Spider-Verse was really good though. Into the Spider-Verse is like its own standalone thing, but it's definitely worth the watch. If you like psychedelic trippy stuff, you'll love the art styles that are in that movie.
I in fact this may shock you. I in fact do.
Oh, nothing. I never would have guessed. But yeah, it is good. I would definitely recommend watching that for sure.
I'll check that out. Oh my god! Speaking of psychedelic trippy animation, have you watched Midnight Gospel?
Yes, I have watched Midnight Gospel, but what was the original show that the animators did?
Adventure Time.
Yeah, I never really watched Adventure Time, didn't really have like a desire to watch it. And I do like Midnight Gospel, but the animation kind of bothers me sometimes.
It's got that, sometimes it's like almost like 1960s or 70s, like where things will be moving so jaggedly.
Kinda.
And like they're missing frames.
Did you ever watch Disenchantment?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Did you like it?
I did. Now there's definitely Matt Groening's kind of got like in his universe, you know what I mean? Like there's a certain snarkiness. It's just sort of omnipresent.
And he's the same guy that did like The Simpsons and stuff like that.
And Futurama.
Right? Yeah, he does have a very particular style to his shows, but I think the thing that I didn't like about Disenchantment was the silence. Like if there wasn't a character talking, it was complete silence, and that's not something that I actively listen for. Like that, it's something that stood out to me when watching Disenchantment.
You will hate There Will Be Blood.
Oh, is it too quiet?
Dude, I don't think the first line of the main character, he falls down a well. It's not an oil well. He's like digging for silver, and like his dynamite blows up with his bucket still in the well. He's like, well, shucks, and I go down and get it, and then he falls down the well, and so he says like, no, when he wakes up and he's still alive. Other than that, there's not a line of dialogue. I think for like 15 minutes into the movie.
Is there background noise? Is the question. Because if there's background noise and there's like effects noise where like if like set something down you can hear it and like just the shuffling and stuff. If there's that type of noise, then I feel like it's better. But I'm talking like in Disenchantment there is silence, like absolute silence. Characters can be walking and there's no footstep noises, nothing like that.
They call that Foley.
Yeah. And have you seen some of the techniques they use? Like to get like crunching, they'll like use celery or something and like wrap it around and crunch it. And
when I went to school for audio, we had to do stuff with like Foley and whatnot, and ADR, which is I automated dialogue replacement. So some actors will have it in their clause to where they will not come back in and re-record their dialogue when they shot the movie. You have to get it there.
Shit.
So for the most part, though, most actors, after they act on screen, they come back in during post-production and they re-record everything.
Wow.
So they have to match their movements and like their tone and like the muscles in their neck have to like line up for it to be believable.
Yeah.
So like you'll notice that sometimes in movies where you'll be like, what the fuck aren't their words matching their mouths? It's because they probably changed dialogue.
True.
And nowadays they can go and do a lip sync digitally, but used to they didn't do that. But yeah, like Foley's fucking really cool, dude.
Yeah,
because you have to match footsteps.
It's pretty cool. I've seen a lot of videos about like little tricks they use to like, and the same thing about like food presentation for like photos and videos. Like those people get super creative. I was watching one where they were using like shoe polish or something to make a piece of bread look cooked, and like. Yeah, a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I can't remember exactly all the techniques.
For marketing, to make the food look a certain way.
McDonald's commercials and shit like that. They'll use like fucking yellow paint for cheese or mustard or like stuff like that.
Glue for Alfredo or like a thick sauce or something.
It's crazy. Like, and I mean, I understand why they do it because they want to make the food look presentable and stuff like that, but comparing like the commercial to the real life version of it, I feel like it's a little bit of a scam.
I wonder if anybody has sued one of these fast food companies for fraud.
I wouldn't be surprised. You can sue anybody for anything pretty much.
There was something in it's called Tort Reform. There's a documentary called Hot Coffee. It's a little dated, so some stuff in it has definitely changed. I think it came out towards the end of the Bush era, but it's about civil lawsuits. It starts using the first example of the McDonald's lady spilling coffee, and whoever her lawyer was, the deal that they gave her a gag order. So McDonald's got to handle all damage control and spun it as this greedy, manipulative woman. When in fact the coffee was like 180 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. And
like it burnt through the styrofoam cup as she was parked. She wasn't driving, she was parked, and it like burnt her like genitals and inner thigh and like badly. But they weren't allowed to even talk about it until after she died. Like that was part of the gag order. So what happened during that time is these I guess you would call them corporate socialists, right? They want to get legislation for their corporation to dominate the market and have government power with it. But what were we just talking about?
You're talking about like she got.
Oh, the hot coffee thing.
Yeah,
yeah. God, fucking what a week.
Shit.
They went through avenues in like the Chamber of Commerce, and which apparently is not even a part of like our government. It's like
really
something. Yeah, it's something outside of our government. They just have deep influence in the government. But they got in this stuff and they started a campaign about frivolous lawsuits. So like civil lawsuits are the only way that like you or I can take on like a corporation, right? Or like malpractice from like a healthcare provider or a doctor, right? We don't have the way to do that through criminal law, so we have to use civil law to do that. So what this did is it put a salary cap on what you can be awarded. So in a civil lawsuit, say I believe it varies state to state, but in a civil lawsuit, you can the jury can award you say like millions and millions of dollars, right? Well, tort reform has a cap on it that says, cool, you're awarded that much. However, you only get to take $200,000 from that $15 million lawsuit. So say if it is, they bring up these a couple of these stories. One of them was medical malpractice. They had twins, and the doctor, whoever was delivering it, botched up the birth of one of the babies.
Wow.
And like it is severely mentally retarded for the duration of its life, right? and it's to the point to where for it to stay alive, its parents are going to always have it in a toddler state, no matter how big it gets. And the jury awarded them for whatever the damages were. I think it was like something around, all the medical costs were like around $20 million or something like that. Sure. And they took home like about $100,000.
Wow.
And that was it. And everything else was just like, all right, well, your matter's solved. So,
yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. And it's something that we voted for. Well, we didn't vote for, but in the 1990s, because they ran this campaign on like late night talk shows, like David Letterman, Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien, talking about like this frivolous lawsuit of McDonald's and the hot coffee. So they changed public opinion, and then these whiz kids that are on that upper echelons of the corporatocracy or whatever you want to call it knew that was a market that they could tap. That they'll use ideas to tap a market and create something that they can market to get votes. It's a long con.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But nobody, like, it's not something that anybody talked about. I wouldn't even known about it had I not, stumbled across it, YouTube's a fucking godsend, dude. And there's, did you read anything about that executive order that was signed? It was like the hubbub was about like the fact checkers, right? And that like some Twitter Jack Dorsey putting a fact check on Trump is what triggered him to sign this executive order.
Really? When?
The last day or two or so.
Oh, it's like super recent. I probably haven't heard about it. I've had like a very busy last few days.
When are you leaving?
Well, I keep telling everybody midsummer, but it's really up in the air.
Okay.
It really just depends.
Just make sure it wasn't like oh yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, dude. No wonder I'd be stressed too.
No.
But no, it was about if you read the actual executive order, don't listen to the press or people tell you what it says. Just go to whitehouse.gov and read the thing. Mm-hmm. If you look at it in the long term, what it says is that effectively that these companies, these giant tech companies, they've essentially created what we would call a monopoly, an unforeseeable monopoly of information, right? So they don't want to be held liable for what people post on their platform, right? So there's something in place with the FCC, a guideline that prevents them from doing that, as long as they are making sure that they are upholding the First Amendment and holding, I think they call it Good Samaritan decisions. So what that means is that not providing avenues to like snuff and torture and child porn and like bad shit, stuff right. that we should have people dedicated to like, hey, squash that content,
right?
So it sets that they have to clarify if that's the case, then if they're going to prevent people that are even controversial, I would imagine somebody like Alex Jones, Louis Farrakhan, fucking Paul Joseph Watson, other people they've deplatformed just because they're like, they're dangerous thinkers.
It's funny you bring that up because my Instagram, I feel the shadow banned right now. And I understand why, because there's a bunch of like on the edge nudity, like pretty much almost there. But I'll post used to I could post hashtags and I would do it every 10 minutes because that was like the best time to do it, I guess, so just can get more like attention for it.
You're on my feed pretty consistently. Yeah, and it's not that I'm I mean, you do have a lot of content, but it's also not that I'm like repeatedly going through. I follow a lot of pages.
Yeah, and I do try to post pretty much one or two every day, and then I do have enough lined up that I would be able to post pretty much on a regular schedule. But I could post the hashtags and get like a ton of likes from it, and then now I can post the hashtags and I'll get maybe like 1 or 2 likes or anything. But like I said, I'm not really crazy about the number of likes that I get. I enjoy the process. It is important,
because the more likes you get, the bigger you are, the more you get. Right. And that's the way we want everybody in America to aspire to. It's like, hey, we want everybody to be fucking millionaires and everybody have everything they need. and like everybody's working on top of that. You know, we don't want anybody to suffer. But I think with the shadow ban stuff, I think it's also dependent on the hashtag. For instance, today I use hashtag Black Guns Matter, and surprise, surprise, I've noticed just like a trend in like traffic, not as it normally is with whenever I post something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with that.
So I have no doubt with some of the what people would try to classify as obscene stuff that you post, where it's like, well, if you're gonna look at it objectively, well, this may be the image of what we would call a dude auto-filleting himself. It is technically not breaking any rules of anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I've seen.
It's not pornographic because it should. What's the word? Lascivious.
Yeah.
It's like to invoke erotic feelings in oneself.
Mm-hmm.
You know that nudity and even like sexuality themselves are not necessarily going to invoke that type of feeling. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's.
Yeah.
I think you play within the rules personally.
I think I do too. So. And you know the way I look at it is like, all I need to do is edit the private parts out and then we're good to go. And I think some of the pictures that I've done look pretty cool, so I don't really care. But it does suck that I am shadow banned. But like I said, I'm not crazy about the likes, but it feels good getting a bunch of likes. And it's not like I get an obscene amount of likes. Like I still get maybe 100, so...
Oh, I mean, my dopamine gets released with even just one. It's like, all right,
true,
somebody got it.
But the thing is, I'll look at like insights and stuff, and there's a lot of people who look at my stuff, and like I always have a high number of people who are visiting my profile and looking. But I guess maybe people are ashamed that they like it, or maybe people are ashamed that they like what I do, and they just continuously look at my profile. Also, another thing, I am not afraid to block someone. All right? I will block someone for looking at my profile too many times and not following it. That's just how it is. But maybe I'm a dick for it, but shit. Like, if you're not going to follow me, then what's the point? Like, you're going to continue lurking on my page?
I've blocked people based on just messages that they've sent to me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which totally makes sense in hindsight why I got blocked certain times, because it's like, man, I was probably fucking creepy.
Yeah. You talking about creepy? A lot of the models have come from like various different places. Like there have been a few times that I would just be on Facebook and I like the people you may know thing scrolls up, and I'll just be scrolling through it, just looking, and I'll be like, oh, that person looks nice, and I'll hit them up on Facebook and be like, yo, what's up? I hope this isn't creepy, but you know, I'm a photographer. If you want to model, let me know. And then I have gotten a few people to model for me that way.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and I feel, you know, considering the amount of people that I've worked with already and amount of people that have gotten naked for me, like, I think I might be doing something right, you know, because not everybody is comfortable getting naked for people, but I don't know, especially a stranger. Like, some of these people, I'll meet them for like 30 minutes and then they're already butt-ass naked in my garage, so shit.
Shit, man.
I did do a couple, like, I don't want to say test shoots, but like kind of testing the waters a little bit before I actually got started. And I got started, I would say last March, I think was the first time I did like a big production shoot. But the feeling I felt going into that, I was very like scared and worried, because this was the first time that I was doing something like this. I was worried what people were going to think of me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And another thing, I didn't want the model to look stupid. I didn't want the photographer to get in trouble for any reason or anything like that, because, you know, it was all based around, you know, my vision, and my name is basically all over it. Yeah. But I mean, the first one I think was well received. So after that, it was kind of just like, well, fuck, let me just go with it. But I was talking about the little sock shoot we did recently.
Oh yeah, Eustace.
Yeah, I love that one, and you should check him out on Instagram. He has
I think he added me today. May not have. I think I got some alert.
Yeah, his Instagram is Flapjacks and Cigars, and he has he does like a bunch of like clothing art and stuff, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. He's a really good painter as well, but his art account is Think Better Always. It's pretty cool. But,
I try to live by that.
Yeah, he has a really good outlook on life. But fucking yeah, the whole sock shoot was centered around like his idea and what he made and stuff. And when I saw the sock masks that he made, I was like, fuck, like we need to do like an ensemble shoot where everybody's wearing mixed match underwear and like I don't know. I thought it turned out cool.
I like that shoot had while everybody's jumping on this the mask hype. You're like oh yeah, we're wearing masks. We got all kinds of masks in this motherfucker.
I thought they were cute masks too.
Dude, they're really cool, man. Yeah. They're really cool. I like anything like artistic flair like that. Like there's, I mean, like the art here on the walls. Like I didn't do all of it. I did most of it, but like a lot of it, like I used it to cope with. And then after like I started getting off certain drugs, like I didn't need them. So like there were some that were like paintings that I have where it's like, well no, I'll never sell this one. Like I'm completely attached to it. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier.
All the stuff that I made, I don't want to sell.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure I could make some good money off of that stuff, but it's just like the personal attachment to it. Is
one of my patrons, I should say two of my biggest patrons. One was in Jersey. His name's Michael Lohr. He whenever like I was first going through and just trying to earn money to like pay my rent, so I was just painting because I lost my job. He bought like 4 paintings from me, and my friend Brian Gonzalez, who he lives here. He bought one of my favorite ones. I did one of a gorilla. It was a horizontal canvas, probably about like that one over there. So about a 2/3, the one with the love yourself consistently and elaborate there, but just rotated like 90 degrees, so it's horizontal rather than vertical. And I had a gorilla hitting a pipe, and the text "Wake Up" was written on it in like bold letters, and the only colors on it were just grayscale and oranges, and it was in this like orange frame. So I love that one, and like he it was really awesome knowing that it was going to like somebody that was like a good person and like supported like my artistic pursuits and whatnot. But
and I feel like that's why I have to be a little bit selective about the models that I work with.
I think you should, man. Like I mean,
I feel like if I'm gonna work that intimately with someone, we need to be on the same page with everything. Like I need to know that you're comfortable with what we're doing and that you're gonna enjoy it afterwards. I don't want you to regret it after it's all said and done, and I'm already like 3 photos deep on posting them, like
or like ham it up to where it ruins like your vision. You know? I don't know, man. I think you should be selective when it's there are very few people I've encountered because like I'm a snob, like and that's fine. I know I'm a snob. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. It's just I'm opinionated, so I'm a snob. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even in that, when it comes to like being a musician, there are very, very few other musicians that I would like play with and enjoy playing with, because there's sometimes I would sit down and I'll have a rhythm in mind that isn't some just like up, down, 1, 2, and you know what I mean? Like all right, let's play something on a back beat. So like whenever I lift my hand upwards, you're coming downwards. You know what I mean? Like hit a little early before the one comes around. I like that. I like mixing it up in different rhythms. I like a heavy rhythm section. I don't give a shit what genre it is. Also, I was going to move my fucking body. You know what I mean? So like, if I'm listening to something that I don't want to move my body, then it's going to be like some like classical or somewhere. It's like, all right, let the rhythm just flow through me like I'm a cloud ethereal in the wind. You know. But the if you don't have rhythm, or like you can't convey the idea that I'm thinking, then I'm like you said, I'm not gonna be rude about it, but like I'm not gonna pursue that further, because it's like, hey man, I've got an idea, and like the idea in my mind, like it's a complete idea. So I know like what direction we're going in, and I can't get in that direction with you.
Right.
And you don't want to say that to somebody, because then, like if somebody said that to me, well, of course I'm going to be hurt. Mm-hmm. Like I'm going to feel rejected, and nobody wants to feel that. However, I think some people will try to prey upon your generosity and your kindness at times in life, right? So you also have to be vigilant, because if you're not vigilant about these patterns that humans can do, and about people that they're not really correcting themselves, like you can catch those red flags very quickly.
Right.
You know? Especially whenever you make something that people like, and then people want your attention, and then they want to figure out how they can get you to make something for them.
Oh, trust me, I've experienced that a few times already.
I think you're going to keep experiencing it too. But commissions can come from that, though.
Yeah, that's true. But
silver lining.
The times that it has been brought up, like, oh, will you make something for me? Or like, now that you're doing something that I like, I want to be your friend. Because there have been a few people who, ever since I got started, like, came around to me, and it's kind of just like, okay, you didn't like me before, but now you like me now. And now it's you coming to me, right? So
I liked you at one. This was like, I think 2 or 3 years ago at a bar. I was there.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And like I thought it was just gonna be like, oh hey, friendly, how do you do? I think we talked like an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So like instantly I was like, okay, this person's interesting. I'm like, if
I mean, I'm okay. I'm not upset that people like me that didn't like me before and they like came around or anything, but it's kind of just like a superficial type of thing. And I'm not saying that about you right now. Like I've never thought that way, but it has been like evident in some people. And I'm just too honest of a person to like cater to that, I guess, because I'm really not dependent on anyone. Like I'm not desperate for people's friendship or like anything like that. So I guess that's why I've not really been too concerned with the people that don't like it, that, you know, the stuff that I do.
Right.
Which is fine. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and people love to share them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, like I can't remember who it was. There's some famous dead person, like a quote.
Yeah, one of them. One of the famous dead people.
I'll fuck up the quote. Like I'm terrible with that. That's why I need like around like my office computer, I've like Post-its where I'll be listening to something. I'll be like who the hell's Herbert Hughes? Herbert Hughes, what was he? 1852. All right, we'll come back to that later. And sure enough, I will. But God, man, I think it's just from years and years of my 20s. I think I destroyed my brain. Went a little too hard in the 20s. But what's the okay, if you could make a movie where you have to remake, you don't define the story, right? So it's adapted screenplay. Okay, not original screenplay. All right, so your gay rock opera or whatever you've got like in your horizon when you're 55 or whatnot, like no, keep working. That's all right there. But to get to there, you need to work a little for the man, right?
Right.
Okay, so you're in charge of directing a movie.
Okay.
Best adapted screenplay.
So just taking a story and then
right. So
it.
Yeah, so like Disney does with every generation. They're like, open the vault and remake the Dalmatian movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
what movie would I remake?
Mm-hmm.
That is a very tough question. So that's a very specific question too.
With your style, mind
with
you.
My style.
Yeah. They're like, I don't care how much it costs.
Oh, okay.
Get the man what he wants.
Let's see.
You met like an oil tycoon on a poker boat cruise and struck up a conversation, And then he's like, I like the way you think, Drew. I'm going to give you a shit ton of money and get you to make a movie.
This is hard. Oh, God. I keep wanting to say Phantom of the Opera, but...
So it is the rock opera then.
Kinda, but I'm not really into musicals.
Did I mention I'm psychic?
Fuck. I told him myself. Oh, shit.
That's why he lost that poker game. That's why he invested all the money.
Fuck. I don't know, but I have thought about like movies before, and I definitely have given strong thought to music videos before. Like, I fucking love a good music video if it's like perfect, if it has like really like, I would say and I'm not even ashamed of this now. I was ashamed of this in middle school, but I was obsessed with Lady Gaga when she came out with Bad Romance. I have watched that shit thousands of times. I'm not even playing about that shit. But I think that's a big thing right there that kind of led me down this path of like the darker side of things, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that she was necessarily dark or anything, but when she was doing all that...
She wasn't light by any means.
No, she wasn't. But when she was doing that creepy shit... That right there is kind of what...
She wore like a meat costume?
Yeah, she wore
like
a meat
gala?
dress. Yeah. I thought, man, when I saw that, I was just like, damn.
She
that's a bad bitch right there, but I don't know.
There's an old girlfriend of mine. She and I were friends for like a few years, and then like, you know, we just became lovers or whatnot. She was like, you listen to Lady Gaga? I was like, no, like, I mean, I know who she is, like, I know her hits, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she was like, you need to check out Art Pop. Well, because that was how she knew she could get my attention with it.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I had always told her, like, Lady Gaga is like Marilyn Manson, but for another generation.
A little
They
bit.
even have a similar nose if you kind of look out from the side.
But I like Marilyn Manson anyway.
Oh, I love Marilyn Manson,
Yeah.
dude. I got a signed poster.
I noticed that. I kept looking at that shit a couple times. I love that.
Yeah, kind of sucks. His live shows have kind of gone down the tubes.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the same with every artist, though. Because when you have that first like break into fame, you're trying to do something to get their attention, and then once you have their attention, the stress of trying to get people like to be interested in you isn't as extreme. So you know that you can like mellow it down and shit.
I can see that definitely. I think that definitely also comes with age, particularly with more aggressive music, like, you know, like anything under the, I guess, umbrella term of rock and hip hop, right? So metal, alternative, like G-funk, like anything where people are like really shouting. So like no doubt that like him like not taking care of his body, and now he's like 55, I think, or close to it. Like he's not able to scream and shout for 2 hours like he used to. But his albums, like his records, they're still pristine.
Yeah.
Like he's still putting like all this thought, and like the thing I like about Marilyn Manson's albums and Lady Gaga albums, even though some of her albums, I think it's just because they're so dancey that the rhythm section gets a little repetitive.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is the point with dance music to have.
True. I mean, like pop music, there's always going to be that catchy, you know. Yeah.
Right. So I can't really hate something for something that's fundamental to the genre itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
But I never know what to expect with a Marilyn Manson album.
That's true.
You know, and those are mostly the musicians I gravitate towards, are ones that are like, all right, let's really focus on the album and the aspect of giving the listener an experience that they can submerge themselves in, and let anything be on the table with it. So like there's a band, the Mars Volta, that they said what they want to do is be a punk rock Grateful Dead. So it's like hyperspeed Latin rhythms. They're Chicano and Texan, so like it's like it'll make you move, but like it's like hyperspeed, but the guitar is not like metal guitar. So sometimes he'll be playing like really, really fast acoustic riffs. Other times he'll just be playing like jazzy stuff, and meanwhile the bass and the drums are doing something completely different. It's also they have one album, it was called Francis the Mute. When they turned it in, it was one song, and the label was like, can't market this. We want to market it. So they're like, all right. So they broke it up into 5 chunks. The last song was a half an hour.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So,
give them motherfuckers something to listen to.
It'll take you on a journey. The label made them split it up, though. They, what's it called, a legalese or something? So it's some technicality with their record deal where they said that technically it was, no, even though the album, they delivered like 88 minutes, they had to cut like the title track from the album. They cut it and put it out separately because there wasn't a medium yet that could carry it, because Spotify wasn't real, you know what I mean? You still pressed everything to a CD. So the label said that it has to be 8 tracks. So they then took the last chunk of it, that half-hour long song, and then just arbitrarily placed track markers in it to appease the label, because they said it would be an EP. An EP is an extended play, so it goes back to when everything was just vinyl, and you had a single play, SP, extended play, and an LP, a long play. So the single play, I believe, held in total like 5 minutes aside, something like that. The EP would hold usually about 11 minutes aside for a total of 22 minutes, and the LP would hold about 22 minutes aside for about 40, 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. So they said because it didn't have the a proper amount of tracks, that it would not fulfill the record label, but they could hand the album over to the record label anyway, and they would still market it and take their cut, but it wouldn't fulfill their contract at all. So they placed all these markers in the last track, which kind of ruins it if you want to listen to the album on like random, you know what I mean? Because you'll be listening and a song will end, and then all of a sudden you'll be in the middle of like the grand epic at the end. It's like, how the fuck do we get here? Like, but their albums are pretty wild as far as psychedelia. It can be intense as well too. So like just how like a metal or like really dark trap can like have like nightmarish qualities and put the listener at.
I like that though.
I do too.
I like this like kind of scary sounding music and stuff like that. I love it. Like it feels like doom or something. Yeah, mm-hmm. I love it. Yeah, where I like it where I'm not where I'm not sure what avenues it's going to take, and that's a lot of problems that I'll find with like people that like also enjoy like a psychedelic culture, like in particular metalheads and hippies and hip hop heads, like, because there's a broad spectrum of music. However, with like hippies, they usually don't get nightmarish because it's like, I don't like this. This is really bumming me out and making me self-conscious and aware. I don't think I've ever really felt like I was part of the hippie culture, though. I don't think I've ever subscribed to that lifestyle. I don't think I've ever subscribed to any like total like. I like America because it's so many like we're all bastards, right? So like there's all these different cultures that permeate, and we're inspired by all of them. Mm-hmm. Like I think that's a beautiful aspect of it. But no, there's just anytime you start bringing like ideology into it, whenever you want to have somebody like, well, this is the way we think. It's like, hey, you don't speak for me. Like the only stupid shit that is coming out of my mouth is the stuff I'm going to be responsible for. It's not like what somebody else is saying. You know? Yeah. I think that tends to happen with like most of us. But you're supposed to grow out of that. So like. You're supposed to, when you're young, you develop your personality, right? But then you need to adapt with your peers. If you don't, then you're not going to be able to succeed when you become an adult. And that kind of just reminds me of people's outlook. Like a couple well, not necessarily a couple, but I do know people who have a very dark outlook on life and are very like, judgmental of other people. But when you compare, both outlooks, who's doing a little bit better? And I hate to say that and sound like I think my shit doesn't stink or I'm so full of myself or whatever, but come on, like I'm trying to grow and adapt and change and continue to get better and whatever, but like anybody that tries to dim somebody else from shining is not being a very kind person. They're not being a very good person. Mm-hmm. And you have a lot of people that they'll latch onto that because they feel that
not to sound like I'm psychological genius here or anything, but they'll feel so alone that the only way that you can empathize is for you to succumb down to their level and to lower yourself, and then you'll understand their pain. And then you'll understand why they can't be like you used to be. But now you don't shine like you used to be.
I think they don't understand that it's not my responsibility.
You can't help anybody that will not help themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't love anybody that will not love themselves. Like, it all comes back to, like, self-care, right? And again, like, self-love doesn't mean that you think your shit doesn't stink. It just means you should care about who you are. You should care about, like, when you fuck up and you do wrong, when you do real wrong, you shouldn't make the same mistake twice.
Right.
That's a very important lesson I've learned in life. And life is not going to forgive you a second time for a lot of your offenses.
Right.
That's another thing I've learned. So it's best to stay wise and be a good person. Personally, I like the philosophy of live like God does exist, or live like the Matrix does exist, because you want to get out of the fucking Matrix, right? So, like, if this is a simulation, and the way to get out of the simulation is either do really bad and go down a level and then get out of that simulation, or transcend and do well and level up, then I'm going to aim up with everything, you know? I think organized religion, as well as kind of like these social hierarchies, right, where you need to adapt with the group, find peers and whatnot. You also have to transcend these things. Otherwise, you become an ideologue, and then, like, you're not thinking for yourself. Then your art is compromised to the will of other people. You know what I mean? If you demonstrate to people that you'll bend a knee at your art for their wishes, then they're not going to think you're virtuous. They're going to think you're submissive, and then they're going to try to dominate you. And it doesn't matter how people try to gloss it up or anything like that. People that try to control your shine and try to dim your shine are not your friends, and they're not, like, anybody that you should invest time in. Right? So I find that, like, these same people that want the world to sort of burn because, like, they're already low. Well, I mean, like you said, who's doing better off, right? Yeah. So it's all about the results at the end of the day. Right. So if it works for these people, and, like, all these people, and they're like, hey, you know what? Giving yourself something to do rather than just sit in existential dread is a really fucking good idea.
I mean, I definitely don't have any bad feelings about enjoying my time on this earth, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just doing what I enjoy, and if you don't like it, or you're too ashamed to admit that you like it, or you don't like me, but none of that is really my issue, because, like I said, I'll continue to do it. Yeah. You know, if there's somebody willing to model for me and willing to participate, then I'll always have something that I want to do.
I mean, can you even control it anyway? You know, you can't control what people are going to think about you. So,
no, and that's why I don't really concern myself with what people think. Like,
nor should you, because you know what? Times are going to come where things are going to hurt. And, like, that's all right, because you get past it. You know what I mean? Like, as artists anyway, like, you're used to taking all of this, like, wretched feelings and manifesting it into something that makes you feel good. It's into something positive. You know what I mean? And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people don't have that creative spark in them to be able to take something negative and make something positive about it. And you're tapped into that. You know, your mind works differently than a lot of other people's do. And what most people are, like, intrigued by that. Like, I'm intrigued by other artists because it's like, I want to sit down and have a fucking chat with this fellow.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I can definitely appreciate other artists, but the problem that I have with other artists is when they do put other people down, and other people aren't good enough in their opinion. Like, whatever you enjoy doing, like, as long as you enjoy doing it, then you're doing something right. But Valdosta does have a very peculiar way of trying to hold people back. You know what I'm saying?
Well, a lot of big fish for such a small pond, you know. I had an old song with an old band of mine called Suicide Project. It was a song called You Ain't Punk Rock. and it was just all about like the small town elite hipsters. You know what I mean? Like whenever I was a teenager, like we would have like, you know, the local like punks and like local peers and whatnot. They would like boo our band and like shit talk us and whatnot. And the irony is that like our front man was like one of the few openly gay like teenagers that was like in the music scene, like in Valdosta, and like still yet all these people are just like so they would be the same people, that group nowadays, that would be like can you believe they would not let a gay man sing his song up there after all the oppression? And it's just like, bro, they're just fucking brainwashed into this. I think it's an inherited culture that television gave them, and they haven't really detached themselves yet. True. So it's part of that celebrity culture. Whenever the news is telling you how to rebel and telling you what's a counterculture and all this other stuff, do you really think it's cutting edge, or do you think it's just something you're buying into? And I think that with what your art does is it it's got a voice of its own, right? You know, it stands out. And aside from just photographers, like you've also like you're bringing in other elements with it, like so it's all this design aspect. It's a big picture,
right?
You know what I mean? Like that's some gangster shit, dude. Like that's like, as me, like, because again, like audio stuff, man, like that's a long process, and you got to think with the big picture.
Right.
So the fact that you're able to do that in this short term, right, and bust all that shit out, that's some real shit. That's some man shit, dude.
Oh, let me tell you,
I like that.
I can spend hours editing a picture, especially if it's like very complicated, like the one with the girl that had like all the arms.
Oh yeah, Spider Lady.
Yeah.
And then the next one was like the sprawl.
Yeah.
It was like
those in particular took quite a while, and you know, depending on the picture and the edit that I have in mind for it, it can take anywhere from fucking 10 minutes to, like I said, multiple hours. And but yeah, the one with the little spider girl thing, and it had like the legs, and I kind of molded it to look like it was one piece, and she had the hands and stuff. That definitely took about 7 or 8 hours to complete. And once I got started on it, I started at like fucking like 9 or something. I was doing it continuous, like all the way from start to finish. So
you get so at least I do.
Oh yeah, when I get focused, man, I'm focused on this shit.
Dude, I was over at my buddy's house earlier this week. You know, just like from after my grandma died, I just like somebody to like, you know, talk to briefly and whatnot. But fuck, what were we just talking about? Oh my god.
You said somebody came over here and talked to you?
No, before that, what were you just talking about?
Oh,
I'm so good.
What was I talking about? Shit. I was talking about editing time.
Oh yeah, about getting focused.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Golly, what a fucking day. So stupid. So I was telling him, like, he was asking me like, oh, so what you got going on or whatnot. I was like, man, I realized last night I was working on some snaps I had recorded for like a beat, and I had like moved and I was like, listen, I was just like, I want to get these snaps perfect.
Yeah.
And then it was like 6 hours later.
Shit,
oh my god.
Absolutely. I understand.
But they were sounding good. The snaps are sounding
perfect fucking snaps.
They're pristine. Had them balanced with an 808 cymbal, like a hi-hat. So it gave just a little bit whenever the snaps go off. So
yeah.
But
hell yeah.
I like getting long-term projects. They're more rewarding anyways.
Oh, of course.
Than just doing like, I don't know, like for a while there with painting, I was doing like one a day where I was just like, my muscle memory had just gotten so good where I could just like look at something and boop, already had it in polygon shapes in my mind. I was just like, all right, And then so there's no passion with it after a while.
So as an artist yourself, are you able to look at something and just like pretty much draw inspiration from the fucking air? Like, can you look at something and know exactly what you're going to do with it?
The idea in my mind rarely comes out exactly as my mind presents it to me. Mm-hmm. Now, I've talked with some artists before, they're just like, nope, whenever I have an idea, I put it to paper and there it is. Like, lucky you.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely relate to having ideas that don't work as well as you thought they were going to work.
Bro, there have been, like, paintings and songs I've done where I'm just like, well, glad that bad idea's out.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
It's cathartic. I mean, you know, as embarrassing as, like, art you make where you're like, I'm not too proud of that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey, whatever. It's kind of like a tattoo, right? It shows me where I was at my point in my life.
I do like my tattoos for sure, you know, but I do maybe wish I would have thought about it a little bit harder. But which is fine, and I'm not knocking on the one that Ainsley Stubbs gave me on my leg.
She gave me one as well. Yeah, shout out to Ainsley Stubbs and the brass quilt. I was speaking of what we were talking about earlier with American politics and whatnot, really happy that in the state of Georgia, my friends in the tattoo community are able to work.
Absolutely.
I don't like the idea of any government saying your business is not essential.
Right.
If it's your business, you're an entrepreneur, it's 100% essential. I don't like it. I think that's a bad road to take. So again, while I don't like our governor, I'm sorry. I agree with like, hey, you know,
people got to make money.
Yeah. You can't shut down. And say, all right, guys, we got to stop. Why? Well, because the experts said. Okay. Why? Well, because of X, Y, and Z. All right. I get all that. It's
so. Hold on, you got a tattoo from Ainsley too?
Yeah, I got.
Let me see.
I got myself a mushroom.
Oh fuck yeah! She gave me this one.
Oh, you got that one.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I love that shit.
That's what's up.
She did such a great job. I was very impressed with her, and she's still like apprenticing. So
yeah.
She's definitely progressed very well.
It's fucking crazy. Like I love Ben. I've known Ben
Ben's
since we were
cool.
teenagers, and like. His band and my band, like we got heckled like by like all the same people, and like they came on the show, and I was telling them like how funny it was that all those same people like came back and kisses his ass now. Like,
yeah.
Hi, nice to see you. But like I was friends with his wife, and whenever like they got together, I was like, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because like I love both those people. As she was tattooing me, he's like I think I was like one of the first 5 or something like that. I was in there early where I was like, fuck yeah dude, I got some real estate. Like you
that's
do whatever.
How I felt about it.
You do whatever. You know. So Ben was like his very calm voice, like, so did you ever think she'd be tattooing you instead of me? No.
Damn. I mean, I think she did a great job on mine.
She's doing really good. I see her progress. She's moving on to feetses and shoulders and some other stuff. No, man, that's one thing that kicks ass about Valdosta is like we do have a thriving art community here.
Mm-hmm.
It's the tattoo community, like the tattoo artist community here. Like they've all got their quirks, and it is a bunch of different personalities.
Sure.
But you have got some bad motherfuckers that are artists in Valdosta.
And do you say bad as in a good way or a bad way?
Absolutely positive.
Okay, cool.
When I accompany the word bad with a motherfucker, it is almost always in a manner that wants to emphasize I am wowed.
Okay, cool. Because just had to clarify on that.
Oh no. And even aside from that, I would like I have no room to like shit talk a tattoo artist. I'm not a tattoo artist.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's how I feel about it.
Like I have no way to shit talk like a fucking fashion photography guru because like I don't know anything about it. I'd be like these lights look fucking awesome. How did you know? To like because that's how I look at it. It's just like wow, somebody could see that. And it's just foreign to me.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I don't try and knock on other people's styles. because
Well, you shouldn't, man.
Yeah. Everybody has, their own style, and that's cool. No, I don't feel like I'm necessarily copying anyone, and it's fine if people want to copy me, but everybody's entitled to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I don't recommend anybody copy me, like, whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is... I will say copying is a form of flattery, but as the...
Who is this? Imitation's the most sincere form of flattery?
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know the exact saying. But, it's cool. It's just...
It's, I don't necessarily think it's flattering, because me, butt kissers, make me anxious. You know what I mean? Like all that, sort of like, oh, you're so great. You're so great. Oh, it's fantastic. Guys, shh, get around. Guys,
he's talking.
Guys. Okay, go out, get Greg. He's outside. Get him. Tell him to bring everybody in here. Okay. No, shh. He's gonna do it. Go ahead. It's fantastic. Go ahead. No, man, I'm an attention whore, so I get it. When I want attention, I get it. Right. It's all about I have a 90% success rate. So I'm I barely made it as an A student, but I'm here talking the big ideas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What was the quote? Imitation sincerest form of flattery. Wonder if it... I was halfway expecting the phone to bloop,
this is your answer.
There we go. But no, it makes me uneasy because I don't think it's genuine. You know what I mean? There's...
Yeah, I can see it. Imitation is nice, but it is just a little bit annoying.
Tad bit, because it's like somebody's biting your style. You know what I mean?
Or the way I like to see it is kind of eating off the same plate. There should be enough for all of us.
Oh, yeah, or couples that sit in the same side of the booth. You ever see that? Or
yeah. Oh, yeah. When they're all on a date alone.
Two people. And they're oh, where do you want to sit, dear?
I
sit over here.
I don't know. That's cute though. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But that's not something that I personally would do. If we're on a date with each other, I want to be able to look directly.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna be cockeyed to the right.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Not a fan. Wait, who said this though? Charles Caleb Colton. I don't know who that dude is. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. What I think is that nobody was imitating Charles Caleb Colton, and then he came up with a quote to make himself feel better.
Yeah.
It's that expression of if a bird shits on you from above, it's good luck. Have you ever heard that?
Nope, but I have been shat on before by birds.
I have too, as well.
It's always a pleasure.
I never saw it as good luck. I just saw it as that bird pooped on
I remember there was one time when I was a kid, there was a bird in a tree, and I grabbed a low branch or something, and the bird shit, and it landed right on the side of my neck and on my shirt and shit. God. I was one of the lucky that didn't get bird shit in my mouth. But have you ever seen that video of the people that put all the laxatives in the food and then kicked it on the sand and all the seagulls started eating the laxative food?
No.
Yeah, it was like a shit storm, fucking birds pooping everywhere.
Oh my god.
God, I'm
they
all
probably
for...
pooped themselves to death.
They probably did.
Oh my god.
I'm all for animal rights and stuff. That's abuse. I personally wouldn't do it.
I agree.
But... it was hilarious. I thought that shit was hilarious. Yeah.
It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't me stuck in the shitstorm, but it was good viewing.
Oh my god, dude! I have to use humor as a defense mechanism anyway, because of what the alternative is, crying at every sad thing.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man.
Yeah.
There's way more sad things being bombarded with me. Fucking laugh. It's what was it? It was some old news report from the 70s or something, where it was a beached whale. And
is it the one where they exploded it?
Yeah, they put dynamite it.
Yeah.
And they were well, we can't move it, so let's just blow it up.
Yeah. fuck that fucking whale.
Oh my God.
I remember seeing that. Have you ever seen the video of the bald eagle like swooping in and just like grabbing a sheep just enough to pull it off a little bit and letting it go and letting it fall? Yeah.
Dude, man, eagles are fucking wild, man.
Yeah.
I was talking with my mom and dad about something I saw where they're talking about like this eagle that is now extinct that supposedly would have had like a 16-foot wingspan and like, or maybe even been more than that, maybe like 16, I don't know, whatever. Like, it was big enough to pick people up.
Yeah.
And like, supposedly it was in like the Western Hemisphere, like in parts of Polynesia.
Is my forehead bleeding?
No, it's probably sweat. Have to turn off that
you're good.
AC, otherwise it'll.
I thought my fucking forehead was bleeding.
The AC makes too much of a. This guy should be quiet enough. Yeah, it makes too much of a rumble.
Sure.
Though, so like whenever like I record, like I mean, guitar is not too bad because I can just little amp right there, and I can make a little tunnel, set a mic up, and put it there. And like bass and other things, you can just bring directly in through the computer, so you don't have to use a microphone and bring an analog signal in. You can take a bass signal and just pop it right in digitally.
I just thought my forehead was bleeding, but that see, it is bleeding a little bit, but oh well. We're just two dudes hanging. It's all right. But look, there was this one time when I was taking a class at GMC.
Yeah. Some coffee?
I'll take some water if you have some.
Yeah. I got you. Keep rambling.
All right, so I was taking this math class at GMC, and we were taking like the final test, and I was taking Accutane at the time, which is a drug for acne, right? Mm-hmm. And I was going through the stage where it makes you break out real bad, so I had like a few pimples on my forehead, and during the math test, I fucking scraped my forehead pimple, and apparently it started bleeding. And like I didn't feel the blood or anything, and then near the end of the test when I turned it in, the teacher wanted to talk to me outside, so like we both stepped outside, and she was talking about how glad she was that I was in her class or something like that. She was praising me for something I don't remember in particular, but like I remember fucking vividly, she like glanced up at my forehead really quick and then looked back down at my eyes. I just thought, oh, that's kind of weird. And then like we finished our conversation, and I went to the bathroom, and like I looked in the mirror, and there was like a trickle of blood on my forehead, and I was just like, fuck. You couldn't have like told me or something. Like I was walking through the fucking classroom with the fucking blood on my forehead. God.
Why wouldn't she say anything?
I don't know, but she was probably glad that it was the fucking last time she ever had to see me. Thanks.
I mean, I don't know. I think that would just be like sort of common courtesy, be like, hey, sir, you've got blood coming out of your face.
Yeah. Go fix yourself.
I mean,
God,
cheaper. Like even if it were like a lady, like you're sitting there like talking, all of a sudden you see like her menstrual blood pop up. Like,
yeah,
like
I said it like that.
Ma'am, your skirt.
I'll tell people to pick their noses too, though, and like.
Oh yeah, or like something on teeth. Like, yeah. Like, hey man. Like, well, what? It doesn't bother me. I was like, all right, well, whatever. If I had something stuck in my teeth, I would
want to know. Yeah. If
I had a booger hanging out on my fucking mustache, I want you to be like, hey, bro, you got a booger on your upper lip.
Pick your fucking nose.
Yeah. I think people that are like that are so prim and proper, have like never just like been like in the woods camping away from a computer and
oh man, I love camping.
Air conditioning. Dude, it's fucking an unparalleled experience of just being so removed that there's no roads and there's no light pollution.
Yeah, that's the best.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
when you can just be out in the wilderness and the stars alone are help illuminate everything so you can still see. Yeah, that's the best.
In my this was a few years ago. My a friend of mine is in the military and had wanted us to go camping and take mushrooms while we were camping. And he was like, "Would you want to do that with me?" I was like, "Well, 100%."
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And they had never done it before, so like, I it meant a great deal to me because like I wanted to make sure that like they had a great time, and not only that, but that they took enough to push their fucking envelope as well, so that they had like the little bit of like panic that can set in. True. Because you need that, because you need to be as much as wowed with what psychedelic medicine can do for the human mind. You also need to be humbled by it as well. In particular with mushrooms, you're tapping into Earth and Gaia and God itself, in my opinion. So, like, it's you don't want to half-ass it, because I didn't want him to be like, well, let me just take a little bit. Like, nah, dude. Like, if nothing bad's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we made sure beforehand. He's like, we're gonna be around the guns and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, just don't play with the fucking gun. You're on mushrooms. You don't need the gun.
Yeah.
As it turned out, there was actually a panther, a black panther that was in the woods at the time.
That's scary.
There's not too far from here, not in Lowndes County, but in one of the outskirts county where we were at, we had some friendlies, that knew where we were in case emergencies. But there had been they spotted a black panther, had been on trail cams. It was on social media and whatnot, and our friends that were letting us stay like out on their property and camp out for a couple of days, they were like, well, panther was in the backyard last night, so make sure you boys got your guns and ammo.
That's scary.
So we had it. So, but again, it's like it's his first time, right? So like I know how my mind can like flirt with nightmares on psychedelics and like not find comfort in it, but at the same time sort of listen to the nightmare, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And learn from like what it's telling me. So like the whole time that's going on, again, his first experience. So I make sure the music. I think the heaviest thing we had was like Modest Mouse or like Queens of the Stone Age. So something that can get a little like heavy, but nothing that's like too much, too overbearing. But like the whole time in my mind, I'm just like I'm thinking of like one of us getting mauled by this fucking panther. Like I'm trying, like I'm doing like everything I can, like just don't think about it. Like remember, like it's all about him having a good time. But we ate 7 grams a piece.
Jeez.
That evening. So we had 4 initially, and then later after we calmed down.
Oh, true.
Ate the other 3 and whoop.
Yeah, I bet.
Skyrocketed back up. But towards the end of like the day and whatnot, we're chilling around the fire, and he mentioned, and after he was able to sort of sum up everything he was feeling about it, he was like, man, I'll be honest with you, I was thinking some pretty awful things about the panther like the whole time. What's going on?
Yeah,
I was like, dude,
too.
I was like, bro, I was like the whole time I was just like thinking, just like we're gonna get mauled by this fucking panther.
Sure.
And like,
I will. That's scary, man.
Didn't see the panther. Saw paw prints they were about 2 days old of like one big cat.
Yeah.
And it was the prints were not like a bobcat. Like bobcat paws aren't like the size of a man's fist.
Yeah, true. If what do you think your spirit animal is?
Oh man, a whale.
A whale.
A
okay.
whale.
That's a pretty hefty statement right there.
The whales have air and water, right?
Right.
I'm not some astrotheologist expert or anything. My buddy Bray, he's talked like astronomy to me before, and like he's just like, oh well, this means that. I'm just like, bro, you're blowing my fucking mind. I have no idea. But I'm born on the cusp of Aquarius and Pisces.
Okay.
So I have if anybody's into like odd birth charts and whatnot, I have a pretty odd birth chart that it's like really strong in certain areas of the sky and then ignores like other areas of the sky completely. So it seems that like if it's on ancient level, right, and they're praying to the demigods of the zodiac,
right,
then I arguably, according to the birth chart, would show that I'm in favor with certain gods and am of no consequence whatsoever to other ones.
So you would be a whale.
Well, because I mean, if you think about like a whale is not prey for a lot of folk.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
They're depending on the whale, they're pack hunters and yet autonomous at the same time. You know.
I can feel that.
They're also not completely committed to the sea. You know,
right.
Like they are different than the other beasts in the sea, much like we're different than other beasts on the land. So I have motifs in dreams that happen. I think also like I think I've talked about before on this podcast about on my brother's birthday a few years ago. Almost drowned just by doing stupid shit. Misjudging distance, and I was on psychedelics when it happened. So like I was like, as I'm taking on water and sinking and going into the void and realizing, oh my God, they're gonna find out like this stuff is in my body and I'm gonna become a casualty, and they're gonna think that, well, they're gonna blame it on like, oh well, he was on psychedelics and like this is what happened, and that's not part of the message of shamanism or what psychedelics can do and good they can do that I want to be any part of, right? So I'm thinking about all this and how I'm wasting my life, and now here I am dying and like fucking my fat ass sinking slowly into the void, and then a voice pops in and says, roll on your back. And then I'm like, oh my God, yes. I roll my back and like, I'm back again. And
then the whale was born.
Well, it's just I don't know. I think that. I
mean, I get it. You have a good explanation.
I think it's a premonition as well as like my ultimate demise. Like it's not the first time that like I've almost drowned. When I was like 3 years old or 4 years old, very young, one of my earliest memories at a pool party. It's probably my first pool party, right? So I got my water wings on. Some people call them floaties. They probably called them, I think in Jersey they called them water johns. That's what they call them. Like, oh, you got your water johns on?
Shit.
Get your water johns. But this it's an above ground pool, but like I'm a little guy, like I'm a toddler still, right? But like I'm pretty smart. I'm able to read at this point. I learned to read when I was like 3 years old. Don't know how the fuck that happened. I guess maybe the god of reading was like, no, let him understand it early. And then let him think he knows, and he doesn't know shit. But there's a giant killer whale float that was in the pool, right? That you got like 4 or 5 kids on, and nobody was paying attention, and whoop! It just went over top of me, and now I'm under the water, stuck, because my water wings are towards the surface, but I can't move because I'm pinned. Yeah. And I'm looking around all the kids' feet, and in my mind, at that young of age, is, I'm going to die.
Yeah, this is the end. Fuck, that's wild, man. I feel like if I was a spirit animal, or my spirit animal was probably like a possum or something.
Marsupial?
Yeah, something.
That's interesting. Why do you think that?
I don't know. I just feel like a possum sometimes, I guess.
Fancy trash?
I love trash. I don't know, man. I'm not sure what my spirit animal will be. I always say possum because I think it's funny.
I can show you some trash. Beautiful garbage.
What's your favorite animal, though?
Oh, man, that is a very good question.
I think my favorite animal is probably an lemur. They're really freaky looking, and they're just
like the Madagascar lemurs.
Yeah, the one that like taps the tree with its finger. Yeah.
Almost looks like a monkey, but kind of a little bit of a raccoon with it as well.
It looks like a fucking demon, is what it looks like. It's scary to look at, and I understand why all the locals were like trying to kill it and shit, because that shit is scary. Imagine walking through the woods at like 3 a.m. trying to get home because you're lost, and you hear like gnawing on wood, and you shine your light up, and it's this fucking demon looking thing, and it like looks back at you.
Fuck no. A question I would ask a lot of friends as far as like hypotheticals would be like, all right, you're lost in the woods. It's the 3rd day now.
Oh, shit.
You're still lost.
Okay.
You run into trouble. Which would you rather have to deal with?
Okay.
A grizzly bear or a clown?
Oh, fuck, man. Don't even fuck with me. The fucking bear. No, I'm just like, I'd probably take on the clown because I feel like I would like, you want to fuck with me, clown? Let's fuck.
What the fuck is, if a clown is in the woods,
yeah.
He's been watching.
He's been watching, but okay, am I alone or am I in a group of people?
I think that the bear and the clown would both avoid a group, right? So let's logically, I would say in this scenario, we'll say if you're most likely you're alone. If there are people, right, then like it is not enough to bring down a clown, nor necessarily enough to bring down a bear, nor necessarily enough to bring down a clown.
I feel like...
May it sound like I was saying the clown was stronger than the bear. Like, you need 3 grown men to take down the clown.
Oh, shit.
Their strength is unparalleled.
I don't know. I'd probably take the grizzly bear because I would lay down and play dead and hope to fucking God that it worked.
Oh, man. I would hate it, but I think I would rather see the clown because then I'd just be like, what the fuck?
I don't know, though.
I'm
like, if I met the
badly
clown,
lost.
I would probably, like... try to play like
either way
psychological games and be like, yo, what's up, you're a clown in the woods, that's cool as fuck, I want to be a clown in the woods too, we could do this together.
Oh, famous last words.
Yeah.
He drags you away to his clown torture shack.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hold up, I haven't figured out my animal yet.
Oh, true, yeah.
We got these are the questions that people want to know.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking them.
Hard facts, cold hard facts. Favorite animal, man. So if we're talking about a predator, oh golly, dude.
Okay,
I don't know, man.
If we're doing predators, I think my favorite predatory animal is probably a crocodile. Crocodiles are scary as fuck, and they're a lot bigger than you think they are.
Yeah, man.
And they are vicious. Like if they can kill you, they will kill you. Like all because they can.
Yeah. They're pretty gnarly. As far as I don't know, man. Tigers are pretty terrifying.
I love tigers.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Tigers are cool as fuck.
I bonded with the tiger at Six Flags. This was a few years ago when I was still living in Jersey. I was tripping, and I worked for Applebee's at the time, and they gave everybody that was corporate trained and went to this little seminar a free day at Six Flags.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now, all the dudes I worked with spoke Spanish as a primary or secondary language, English as second or third. Mm-hmm. I didn't train any of them, so I just went to the seminar, and like me and this other dude who was bilingual, he's like, no, I don't like roller coasters. You go. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
You go work.
Six Flags.
Yeah. So like, I dropped like a shitload of LSD and just wore sunglasses. And if anybody said anything about me wearing sunglasses, I already
blind.
had my defense mechanism was going to be like, this is my game face, Brian.
Oh.
You didn't bring your game face with you.
God.
I was ready to ride the roller coaster. Like, always have like a defense mechanism ready.
Yeah.
So like nobody can understand. I was laughing hilariously, like riding roller coasters, like just so exhilarating. But most of my coworkers, by the time we got there, I was like zooming, and like we got there right as the park opened. So I was like,
all day.
Oh yeah, I was like ready to do it. And then they were like, well, we want to get some food. I'm like, y'all are some fucking pussies, man.
Yeah, y'all can go get some food.
Yeah. So
I'm about to have some fun, bitch.
I did it like. My parents would do, my brother and I, they would take us to amusement parks whenever we were younger, and whenever we were old enough to sort of be off on our own, they were just like, all right, the time is like 11:30, be back here at 1 o'clock, not 1:02,
Yep.
1 o'clock.
Yep, my parents were the same way.
So, but I mean, it was good because it gave us autonomy, you know, and allowed us to go off and
that's what kids need. To a degree, they don't need to do like that. That doesn't need to be the whole life, but they do need that level of trust. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. You definitely don't want to be like, I don't know, why don't you cook dinner? You're so fucking smart.
Yeah,
going to kindergarten. Why is Dad so angry? Your dad never graduated kindergarten, Billy.
You didn't answer the question. What's your favorite? Okay, you said tiger.
Tiger as far as a predator.
Okay.
I would say. Oh yeah. The Six Flags thing though.
Oh yeah.
So I wandered off and somehow I couldn't understand the map. I was able to see on there like where are roller coasters, and then I knew like all right, if I just judge that, I can figure it out. All the smaller details I wasn't concerned with, but somehow I found the animal sanctuary or whatever part of Six Flags. And I come down this walkway, and it's like you can be up top and look down in the tiger den, right? Or you can go lower on this walkway, and then you're at the tiger level, and there's windows all around. Like, and so I come down there, and the tiger saw me. There's a crowd of people, and he sees me. There's something different with me. What is something? What is that? So the tiger recognizes that I'm tripping. And yet, like, doesn't know it, but, like, I can see it in his eyes, and he's following me, dude, like, around this whole fucking, perimeter. Cool, and he's a white tiger.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Like, he's a Siberian, I think it is. But, like, at that moment, I'm also knowing that just, like, this motherfucker wants to kill and eat me because he knows I'm different.
Oh, yeah.
So because he doesn't know why I'm different. You know what I mean? He just knows that like however cats see with their aura that I'm glowing differently than all the other food that's around. And so he followed me. But like I remember I was wearing a purple Kool-Aid t-shirt, and after I got done coming out of the tiger den, I was like, all right, I can't stay here all day. I want to ride more roller coasters. I come out, and there's a dude sitting on a bench with this girl. And he goes, Kool-Aid! I was so, like, elated from the tiger, though, that all I did was just, I, like, threw up finger pistols and snapped, and, like, and it just went on.
Man, I've definitely had my fair share of like awkward experiences with people. Like, have you ever gone to watch a movie and you walk up to the counter and you buy your ticket and they're like, enjoy your movie, and you go, you too? Yeah, done that way too many times. Way too many times that I should know better by now, but I still make that mistake. I don't know. And then sometimes I have a problem of like being very absent in public, and people will say something to me, and then I won't like respond to it because I didn't realize they were talking to me.
I'll find myself hard to focus a lot of times because like I'll be taking in information, like when somebody's talking to me, and it'll spark like ideas and colors and images in my mind, like hearing them talk, and I'm still trying to focus, and yet part of my mind is like, hey. And it's like, okay, yeah, put a pin in it. And then it's like, fuck, can we remember the pin? It's like, I don't know. Fuck, what were they talking about?
Yeah. Shit.
And there was one of the first corporate jobs I had was a busboy. And then
yeah, me too. That was my first job.
After becoming 18, I was old enough to have a job as a server. At the time, you could sell alcohol at 18. You couldn't buy it, but you could sell it. So I started waiting tables, and I learned a lot from that whole experience. I stayed in restaurant industry for probably like 10 years, but mostly it was like in the back of the house. Mm-hmm. But
I mean, I've been to both a busser and a server before. I definitely enjoy being a server a lot better. And people fucking love to give me money. Like, I would always get good tips, and I don't really know what it is, but like, I don't know. I
always enjoy a server that's got personality, yeah, and that is like willing to like,
conversate. Like I would always have like conversations, and it wasn't like I was always nagging the customers and like just always trying to talk to them, but if they continued to fucking like talk to me, I would sit there and talk, and I would pay attention to them and shit like that. But I don't know, I was always a good server.
I think anybody that relies on the food service industry should work at least a little bit in food service.
I definitely agree with that.
You will have some appreciation for people that do it. It's hard work,
but
psychologically and physically.
Once you've done a job like that, you know when you're not getting good service. And I hate to say it, having been a server, but I know when to not leave a very good tip.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that I never tip my servers, and I'm not saying that whenever I have bad service I don't leave a tip, but I always leave a tip. If it just depends on the service, if I'm gonna leave a good tip or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. At the end of the day, it's a job. You know what I mean? And
at the end of the day, they are still dependent on the money that I leave for them, and that's a very I think that restaurants and serving should honestly have a decent base pay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they pay them less than minimum wage.
Yeah,
a lot of servers.
When I was a server, I was getting paid I want to say maybe $3 an hour. It
I got
been lower.
$2.13 an hour whenever I first started.
Yeah,
and then I found out that if my tips were too high, then they started taxing those on top of us. I was like, well, fuck, man, how do I get ahead?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you gotta have cash tips. If you cash tips, then you have to declare X amount. But if it's credit tips, then you have to declare this amount. It's like, God, man, what? Sounds like fucking robbery on top of robbery.
For sure. But I was a delivery driver too for a while there, and man, people love to give me tips. There were honestly some creepy people that I had to deliver pizzas to a few times. There was one guy that came out onto the porch, and then once he realized that I was potentially gay, he did a double take and was really talking to me, and then he took the receipt back and then wrote on it some, and then handed it back to me, and then I got back in the car and it was a $20 tip, and I was just like, $20 is $20, man.
my whole thing with I like waiting tables. I liked it until it got to a certain point where, again, my lovely personality rubs people the wrong way, right? So
true. I've done that.
So I remember I was waiting tables, and people came into the restaurant I was working at and started throwing food at me, while I was working, and
I would have thrown it back.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Couldn't. But and there they were heckling me, and as I'm trying to take care of the tables around them, they're throwing food at my tables, and my manager's not doing anything. They're well, we'll send someone over there. They said they're going to stop.
Oh, of course they did.
But I was 19, I think, at that time. I was like, yo, man, I would much rather do some physical cooking shit and learning everything there is back there than to keep doing that.
There was one time I was a server, and I was serving this table, and I had the tray thing, and I had a thing of marinara on it. And it just so happened the guy was sitting in his chair sideways, so instead of his legs being straight, they were to the side. And I was right there in front of him, and I was holding the tray, and the marinara slid to the side of it, and it tipped the tray over, and it landed all on his crotch. And it's I didn't know what to do, because it was fuck, this is the worst possible thing that could happen, and now it happened. And I was just oh, I'll get you some napkins, and it was bad. I didn't want to you know how when you make a mess, your first instinct is to go to grab it? Yeah. It
just makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dropped a tray of drinks on a table of just 4 smoking hot, beautiful women.
Oh no.
All gussied up for the night.
Yeah.
This was
you ruined it.
I did. I totally ruined it. Just like that girl I kicked in the face when
shit.
fucking kindergarten.
Oh man, that's good.
There's a show I love called The Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
Really, really weird esoteric show, but if you're a nerd and nerd culture of anything from comic books to literature to music on art, all of it is they do an excellent job of writing. But it takes a long time to make the seasons. They hand animate them, so it's 2 or 3 years per season it takes. but it's Adult Swim's longest running series.
Yeah.
But there's a line in it from like the second season. A character says, "Everything you touch turns to suck," and
it's a powerful line.
It really is, because I'm not necessarily the manifestation of that line, but no, it is. Goddamn, like sometimes I touch things and they turn to regular suck.
Yeah, I agree with that. Shit. Well, you ready to wrap it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it. But again, thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely had a great time. This was a great experience.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I think it's all. The whole goal with this is to get like all people that we're all immersed in Southern culture. And we are not these stereotypes that have been bombasted, that intellectualism and individualism resonate very, very strongly in the South. It's not all rednecks and hoods and yuppies and all that shit. You know, all those loud voices. There's some real individuals here that stick out. So I appreciate you sticking out, man.
Thanks.
Hell yeah.
Feels good.
Awesome.
How long does it take for you to edit?
This guy will, after I edit out our pee breaks and whatnot, this guy will probably be up tomorrow. So that's Saturday.
Okay, fuck yeah.
So I tend not to...
Is there going to be like a link or something?
You can find New Southern Heretics on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. It gets pushed to all of them at once.
Cool. Because I have a lot of people that wanted to listen as well. So I'll definitely be like pushing it. So.
And any of Drew's fans, just throw that out there. Hey man, like I said, like I don't care. I want people to talk to. You know what I mean? And people that have listened to this, they have an idea as far as like, yeah, hey man, we'll talk about anything. I don't give a fuck, man.
Hell yeah.
All it is we're just commenting on stuff. We're not judging anybody. So
yeah, for sure.
But for show, Drew is the devil. Thanks again, man.
Hell yeah.